I want to play in Europe. What the hell does that mean, right? Because Europe could be Latvia, Luxembourg.
No one's talking about Latvia or Luxembourg, dumbass.
But you don't want to just shove it in there. Start with a smaller finger, especially if this is the first time. Start with a smaller finger and go slow.
I mean, there's a lot of things that need to change.
Honey, eating ass, it is the best thing that you can do for your man.
I want people to realize I'm just human. I'm just human, and I make mistakes.
So this guy, Derek, wants to know, is putting your tongue in an ass really the thing to do?
Yeah, it feels really good.
Yeah, just, it's a weird one, I think.
And I know you want me to toss your salad too, don't you? All right, on that note.
What are you saying, bro?
You are.
Stop, bro! Stop, bro, help me, I'm stuck!
That, I love the new intro. That is really funny as shit. Thanks to Grant, I think, for those, right?
Yeah. What'd you think of the song?
No, I liked it. I thought it was kind of cool. Yeah. I thought it definitely went with, skinny me and fat you and skinny you.
I like the fact that Grant got a lot more of the gifts that have both of us in it.
Yeah, so I like that too.
Last one, I was in two of the 10 clips.
Yes.
Now I had so many that I actually put one individual of both of us in there too. So
yeah, no, that was awesome. So thanks to Grant for that. Are we allowed to say who he is?
I don't know who he is outside of Twitter.
Outside of what, Grant? Tuberville?
Yeah.
Tuberville. Anyhow, thank you, man. We appreciate you sending us those our way. Yeah, we got all things to cover tonight. I mean, it's just been, I thought that U.S. soccer fans were asleep, but apparently they are not asleep. This whole Club World Cup and Gold Cup at the same time and having soccer to watch every day, maybe that woke people up. I don't know. It sure seems that way. Yeah, we'll get to everything that's going on since me and Max Bretto's thing and all that, and it's all good. I did want to make sure one of Josh Sargent's friends reached out to me and said Josh Sargent's not a pussy. I'm not sure if I ever called him one, but I don't refer to him at Norwich as that at all. It took him a long time to get and demand the ball and be really forceful and be the team leader. And my point is, all he needs to do is he needs to go do that with the U.S. men's national team when he gets a chance.
I mean, I'm trying to think of how you worded it.
I don't think I don't
think you said pussy by any means, because I mean, you maybe said something along the lines of like, with the U.S. men's national team, he needs to start sacking up, something that type of thing. I don't think. I mean, I wouldn't put it past you for calling him a pussy.
Yeah, and it's I'm just saying that you should have said what you said in that interview with Norwich Press before you went to the last stint, because it sounded like you were not ready for that challenge. So that's all. Nothing personal there. And the other guy, I watched a bunch of different soccer shows on YouTube, and one guy used the word, FAUX is faux.
Faux, yeah.
Not Fox. Okay, this guy said Fox several times. I'm like, you mean faux, right? You must mean faux. I guess he did.
I feel for him though, quite frankly. I mean, if I didn't know how to pronounce that and I just saw FAUX, I probably would have said Fox as well.
The thing is, he said it multiple times. It's like, don't look it up first. It's a French word. Anyhow, also coming up here quick is the U.S. Darts Masters. Oh, the Two-Hearted. That's nice. That's the only IPA I like. Mm-hmm. I'm just drinking my usual. Damn. There it is.
Oh, no.
Anyhow, Canada Dry and vodka. All right. It's going to be a fun night. A fun night for Schlep Boy himself right here. By the way, U.S. Darts Masters starts tomorrow, where I think it's 8 players from the PDC in Europe come over and play 8 North American guys, and we're going to get our 8 ass whooped, 8-0. We're going to lose every single match. I'm telling you right now, I don't think there's going to be a single upset, and yeah, it's going to be sad, but it'll be entertaining for me. I love darts. Anyhow, I'm sure we got a lot to get to, so we should probably get to it, right?
We don't have that much to cover. Actually, that's the end of the show, guys. Oh man, we got a bit of fluff to cover first.
Okay.
Yeah, there's nothing better than reusing a meme properly in real life.
Okay.
I'm gonna pull this up here real quick. Since whoever did this at my job is so unserious.
This is so good.
Yo, I am hollering. Somebody put this in our bathroom. And it's so funny because they do sound like, y'all watch it.
That is exactly how those things sound. They really do. I've always thought that kind of, but I love that somebody did that. That is.
I love the ones with that. Whatever that Taylor Swift song was, years and years and years ago. But every time Taylor would scream like they'd replace it with the screaming goat.
Yeah.
God, it's great.
Yeah, screaming goat. There's something about that is just too awesome.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
All right. Enough of that screaming goat.
Enough of the screaming goat. In on to.
Well, you know what? Actually, let's move on to another screaming goat here.
Okay.
Apparently, this goat doesn't appreciate ducks fornicating with each other.
Well, what she doesn't like is that there are a bunch of male ducks chasing a female duck. And to me, this is, do you not understand nature, you dumbass?
Quack means quack, Derek. Come on.
It's unbelievable that this is where we have come to. I'm hoping this is just a random idiot and not more people think this.
Get away from her! Get away from her!
She's going to stop ducks from mating.
Get off of her!
Oh my God! What is wrong with this lady? She thinks some sort of duck rape is occurring?
Stop it!
It's oh my God! This is nature. This is nature, lady.
Quack means quack, Derek. Come on, man.
Oh my God! What a fucking wacko lunatic!
That's
all right.
Skip ahead because it gets better.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she goes in the water.
Oh my God!
She tries to chase the ducks down.
This is insanity. That person needs mental help, serious mental help.
Just interfering with life. That's what ducks do.
Exactly. Whoever that 10-year-old was that just said that.
Somebody gave her a net. Was she planning on going and capturing a duck?
I guess the female duck. And how do you know the female duck isn't totally excited by it? This is part of their ritual.
Maybe this is that meme of where it's like the one white girl sitting crisscross applesauce on a couch with 5 black dudes behind her. Maybe that's what this is.
I don't know, but I'm not going there with it. But yeah, I mean,
no. I'm not saying that has nothing to do with color. I'm giving you the meme examples that she's about to get plowed from 5 dudes. Same here. I'm saying the mallard or the what's a female duck called? It's not mallard. Is mallard just a type of duck?
It's a cow. I don't know. I don't know. I have no idea.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Point being, that's just how ducks could do it, man.
Yeah.
God, get over it. Get over yourself. Holy crap! Get mental help. All right, that's it.
Probably going to start criticizing what the ducks are eating too, man.
Oh my God! All those carbs from that bread you're throwing the ducks. You're going to make them fat. That's too many carbs. You're going to give them duck diabetes. All right.
The mallard was mansplaining.
Mansplaining, yeah. Oh, boy.
Crikey.
Alex Gavin says, don't feed them bread. Probably you shouldn't.
I'm not feeding ducks nothing. They can get their own shit.
Yeah, I don't feed ducks, and I see them all the time. My parents got them, out in the
wild animals don't need our help.
Mm-hmm. Well,
birds and squirrels just become too, reliant on bird feeders at this point.
Yeah. My parents actually finally took down their bird feeder. Yeah. Duck is delicious, says Tony, and He's right.
Maybe that's what she's trying to chase down one of those ducks for dinner. Who knows?
Karen plus PETA plus feminists all in one bundle. Probably. That's probably a good assessment.
Untouchables. Great that you're here. I need your take on this because I have no idea what's happening in this video.
Oh, yes. This is in Chicago. I do. I know what happened, but was he there?
I know what the tweet said with it. That he got knocked. This kid. I didn't say this kid. First off, he's not a kid, but the kid gets knocked unconscious for standing next to Palestinians. I
guess so. And so they roughed him up a bit. They didn't punch him. I think they threw him down so hard his hit the pavement, the cement stairs. And he went unconscious, and then they dragged him out. And this isn't the only guy these guys dragged out. Now, keep in mind, Chicago Fire, these are not Chicago and Fire employees. These are employees of the stadium. The stadium hired these guys, but that doesn't mean you don't have a right to let the Chicago Fire know that these guys are out there roughing people up. I saw 2 other videos. It might have been the same guy, but earlier, and then another guy was holding a beer. I'm not even sure what he did. All of a sudden, the guys all turn around and tackle him, basically. So whatever.
The security group was Monterey or whatever the group's called.
Monterey,
they've had a couple kerfuffles with the Chicago Fire Base.
Yeah, I mean sometimes, but it seems like they elevated the issue this time around. I don't know. I wasn't there, but the videos don't look good. That's all I'll say. It's your team.
We'll play while it's what's happening here. So, yeah.
Let's
not.
I
saw this video and I was just like, huh.
One guy says, "Yeah, you guys get ready to get sued."
Yeah.
There's sure a lot of these dudes too. These security guys. There's the other guy who was holding a beer, and they just turned around and nabbed him. But it almost sounds like it feels like they're stirring it up, the hornet's nest, and elevating the anger rather than tamping down on it. So
I don't know. Of course, we're one side of the argument, so I have no idea what legitimately happened. Or
I don't either. I wasn't there.
So I don't know.
Hey, what's your name? Say it for the camera. I was taping them. I was arrested for no fucking reason. Say one more time.
Then you sick.
And he was arrested. It looked like that's all he was doing was taping the situation on his phone, recording it. So Robert Hughes says, what is Derek's opinion of Queen the band? Amazing. I mean,
what's not to like about Queen?
I think, yeah. I mean, are their albums all fully stacked with just great songs? No. But there's always a few bangers on every album, so that's why you have to go out and buy all of them, except for near the end, which is, I don't feel bad saying because Freddie was dying at the time. That album was...
I didn't feel like his heart was in it.
Well, I think his heart was in it. I don't know if he had the energy. And the music was very digitalized. I'm used to hearing them use guitars, a real band. I don't want to hear 80s style. I don't like that. But other than that, yeah. I mean, Queen's, they're amazing. So, all right. One of the best singers ever, I think.
Word.
All right. For the 105 of you here already, make sure you like, subscribe, share with your grandma. We got a lot to cover tonight. So we'll keep hopping through this. What we got next, Brett?
We have some news about more soccer games for us fans. Apparently, Denver's going to be hosting a friendly against Australia on October 14th.
Of course, it's in Denver. Of course. Why not? It's not going to be anywhere near us.
Yeah, Frontier posed that too because he's our Muncie listener, I think. He's like, he quote tweeted this and going, "Man, Indy's never going to get a game, are they?"
Nope, I doubt it. And I don't know why they don't think they would pack the stands here in Indianapolis. Indiana would definitely. We are so starved of U.S. men's national team coming to our city ever that it would be packed, even if we were playing nobody.
I'm. You know what? I gotta say though, I'm okay with it being in Denver.
Mm-hmm.
When was the last Denver friendly?
It's been a while.
It's been a hot minute. I mean, finally we're out of the clutches of St. Louis, Cincinnati, and Austin. We're finally gone from those.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, it'd be great. But I mean, I guess the problem would be is that any team coming out of the country to Indiana would have to do a connecting flight somewhere because they have to fly into Atlanta or New York or Philly or whatever, and then fly to Indy at that point.
They could fix that.
Get a fucking private jet.
Yep.
Come on.
It's not that hard.
Not that hard.
You could fix
it. You know what? Canada can fucking drive a bus down here.
Mm-hmm.
I guess in fairness, pretty much all of the Canadian national team plays within MLS anyways. I mean, a handful of European, of course.
Land in Chicago and take a 3.5-hour bus down to Indianapolis.
Not hard.
Big deal. Not big.
Get one of those party buses. Stock it up with some beer. Good American beer.
Oh, for the other teams. Yes, for sure.
Like some Two Hearted Ale. How about that?
Make sure they're all totally waxed before the game.
Yeah.
All right. Yep. Okay, Denver. Good for you guys.
Yeah.
Australia, fine.
We move on.
Not the best.
I should technically lump this into the into transfer news.
Okay.
Because I feel like after Weston and Weah came out bashing Italian cuisine, that they're gonna be fired out of a fucking cannon.
These guys do not need to be talking about food at all. They were horrible on Thanksgiving turkey.
Oh, 100%.
Turkey's dry. No, it's not. You're cooking it wrong if it's dry.
Turkey. Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Not all turkey's inherently dry. Someone who's cooking it for you is cooking the shit out of it. So, and then they're going to comment on all things. If you were in Italy and you're playing on an Italian team and you're not Italian, do not talk about their food. And to say it doesn't have a variety is kind of crazy because northern dishes are totally different from southern dishes and different from Sicilian dishes. It's all very different. Some are very seafood focused. Others are more hearty. Yeah, this is
the only thing they left off of this interview is like Weston or Weah going, yeah, whenever I make spaghetti at home, I always like to crack the spaghetti in half and dump it into the bowl.
I mean, I'm not going to criticize them for doing that, but of course Italians would say you're not supposed to crack the spaghetti in half.
What's the reasoning behind that? I'm confused. I'm not confused. I just don't know.
I don't know. Maybe it's
just that that's their dish and you don't do that to their dish?
It's a texture thing, you know? You want a big, long strands to twirl around the fork. It's easier. And if they're shorter.
I thought you were going to say something along the lines if you want a big, long noodle running down your throat.
But technically, if the noodles are longer, it's easier to get them on the fork. The shorter they are, the harder it is to get them on a fork. Unless you want to just scoop. But they don't really believe in scooping. They believe in twirling. So
I twirl. I snap and I twirl.
Okay. Well, I don't think one snap's the problem, really.
Sure. If you multiple snaps, you're a heathen.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Then you're just eating tiny bits of spaghetti. You might as well eat it with a spoon, frankly.
Might as well just get a can of SpaghettiOs at that point.
Yeah, true. Anyhow, I didn't even listen to what they say.
You didn't even hear it yet?
No, I just heard I heard of what they said.
It said, Weah already has. Well, this is before we heard the news about Weah's transfer, which we'll get into later. But I said Weah already has 2 feet out the door.
Yes,
and now
he didn't dress today, for example.
Probably because of this.
Yes. Well, no, it's because they're trying to get rid of him.
Yeah,
they're trying to sell him.
They
thought they had a deal done. They thought they had a deal done.
It really was almost done. I mean, even the Forest fans were like, "Looks like this is a done deal."
Yep.
I know it could still be. I mean, I know. Well, let's go ahead and talk about it real quick. So we'll get into more detail and stuff. But basically, Weah said, "No, I'm not going to go."
Right. So, and I think that's fair. And the point you made on X, absolutely correct. He's going to have to fight for that job unless they make him a right back or a left back, right? Which I suppose they could do. But he doesn't want to play there. He wants to play as a winger or a forward.
Yeah, let me.
And they've got 2 good forwards. 2 wingers.
Yeah, I'm going to pull this up here real quick. Weah said no. He's what is this? Tim Weah says no to move to Forest, potentially opening the door for Yunus Musa to head to the city ground. Was Musa being linked to
He is now.
Forest?
Not before this.
Curious.
Yeah.
Let's see. Do I have my point up here? No, I don't have it here. Yeah, basically they have Alenga, they have Adoy, and both of them got like 97% of the playing time last season.
Yeah, that's not changing.
They brought in 2 new wingers in the summer transfer, and those wingers got like 5 games played between them.
Yeah,
not between them. Sorry, each. So like towards the end of the season, they kind of got a little more playing time when injuries I think occurred or something like that.
Which leads me to believe that they think they're bringing in a left back. That's what it sounds like to me, or right back. And I'm sure his agent have to, well, what's your vision for what I'm going to do there? Well, we'd like to play at left back or right back, one of the back positions. And then he said, hell no.
Already fucking doing that. Why would I leave?
Yeah, I'm already being squeezed in that position where I'm at right now. I don't want to do that. So, yeah.
Back when Gio Reyna played for Forest, we pulled this guy. This is Forest Fan TV, I think is what it is.
Yeah.
I pulled up a number of his stuff because he seems to have his understanding of Forest quite frankly.
It's not bad. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
But I saw him talking about Weah's potential transfer, and when I listened, I found a nice 1-minute clip of it that I thought was awfully telling.
I will point out what Untouchables did point out here. This same Forest guy that told us how good Gio would fit in there.
No. I don't think he said that Gio would fit in perfectly fine there, but he said that he wanted to see more of Gio. Because
he did say
he's
that.
Pointing out all these, he's a Champions League player at Dortmund. He's played all these games prior to the injury. I want to see more of Gio. And he was actually a big Gio defender in the sense like, hey, why aren't we playing this guy? We brought him in for $1 million. Why aren't we playing him?
Yeah, he did do all that. But Untouchables might have seen a show we didn't see. So I'm just saying.
So Brian says Landon, Hudson, Adoy are looking like they're out of Forest. I know he talks about Newcastle placing a $45 million bid for Alenga, and Forest said, nah, not going to happen.
Right.
Now, will Newcastle bounce up their bid? Apparently, over the course of this last year, they went from $40 million to $45 million, so I'm not sure how serious Newcastle are.
Or how much more serious they can get.
That's what I mean to say,
yeah.
Yeah.
They're already kept going up, and they're still getting no's. So,
yeah.
And I don't know if I'm Forest, I finished pretty high in the table last year. Why am I getting rid of my best players? So I can go struggle in the middle or lower again?
Exactly.
No way.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not keeping my guys.
They just signed him for Man U. And that was the other thing he talked about this. I think it was Man U at least. Is that they've got Man U's got a 20% sell-on clause. So if they were to sell them to Newcastle for $45 million, 20% of that's going to Man U.
Yeah.
So at that point, again, why am I going to do it? So here's his take on the 2 Juve players as a potential incoming summer transfer.
I'm happy for them to join, right? Because there's no risk to it. But I just think we're at the stage now where we need to either be taking risks or be looking for the upgrade levels. I just don't see either of them as the upgrade level. I think these are good deals. You know what I'm saying? It's like you would do it because it's a bit like, right, this is probably going to sound harsh, but I don't mean it harsh. You've gone into a shop, right? You've gone shopping. You've gone into the luxury department. You've picked out what you wanted. And then on your way out, you're about to come to the till and you see, the buy one, get one free section or the reduced section. You have a quick look at it. It's like, you know what? I didn't actually need this, but that price is pretty good. It's not gonna bankrupt me or anything like that. Let me pick it up on my way out to the till. And I don't mean that disrespectfully to them. I just
they're buy one get one free box. Yeah, all right, that's fair. I mean, like if they were able to hold on to who they're able to hold on to, Nottingham Forest, and you mentioned extra signings as well. I think Weah's got to look at that and just say, I'm not going to play my favorite position. So why would I take that deal?
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I mean, also you got to be looking at the transfer itself as a whole. It was $15 million for the two players as a whole.
Yeah.
That would lead me to think that Nuno and company are looking at these players coming in as seriously just adding depth or filling in for a wingback role.
Right.
Like you said. So
yep.
I don't know. He'd be looking at this. Like I said, like I mentioned on Twitter, I think Weah may not necessarily even be looking at this hard, but maybe his agent is. I don't know. But they'd be looking at, hey, your opposition played, both sides played 95% of the matches or minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll be going into this team fighting against a coach's favorite, regardless of which side you want to play on.
Or they just intended to play at left back or right back the whole time. There you go.
Yeah.
Either way, it's not what you want if you're way up. So I get it.
Well, yeah. I mean, mix that in with this food talk. I mean, I feel like the start of the season is going to be rough.
Well, it was rough. It was rough today, wasn't it?
Yeah. I think McKinney's still kind of on the safe, but I think he may be on the chopping block after these comments. But
I was going to say something very crazy, but I don't feel like having that debate right now. So please.
What?
It's a hot take.
What?
Anyway,
I want to hear this.
No. I'm not going to get bashed.
By who?
Italians.
You said Italian food's trash?
I wasn't going to say it's trash.
I wasn't going to say it's trash.
I was going to say it's not very diverse. It's all the same. Well, yeah, if you're only stuck in one part of Italy, I guess, yeah, it's going to be limited to that culture that that area's culture and their food there. You're not going to get probably a ton of hamburger joints or whatever. It's just not going to happen, but it's great food. Saying
you've said that you haven't seen this yet.
I did not.
I
didn't listen to it
here, so
I didn't listen to it. No,
even using hamburgers too. So, all right, let's see what else.
About how to make a pesto pasta in this area and what the ingredients are. And people don't diverge from that. There's nothing wrong with that. Just don't get pesto pasta. The next restaurant you go, get something else. Get a bolognese if has lots of meat in it, right? You like beef meat? That's got it in it. So I don't know. It is what it is.
But it's true though, because here in the States, if you go to say Brew Burger and get a burger, it's going to taste different than if you go to Applebee's. I'm going to throw a random crap joint there.
Yeah,
the burgers are going to be different depending on where you go. Because depending on the seasonings that get thrown into it, that's going to be the biggest factor. Toppings. How it's cooked, how it's prepared, whether it's gas, whether it's charcoal, whether it's whatever smoked.
Yep.
It really depends. And hell, you can go to Brew Burger and get two completely different types of burgers. They're still burgers, but they're different experiences.
Yeah, no, absolutely right. I just wouldn't have said anything, frankly. I think that would have been smarter.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I feel like Weah probably went into this going like, I'm already out the door. Not anymore though. But then Weston's like trying to preface it by saying, hey, you guys got great food. You're good at what you do, but there's no variety at all.
No, yeah, he didn't save that well enough. And really,
you guys have great food. It's good food. It's just good at what you're doing. You're specialized in a couple of things.
Yeah, but there are hundreds of different dishes, Italian dishes.
Well, it gets worse, Eric. So let's start that finish up here.
You guys don't have, yeah. I mean, Americans do everything better. So,
well, go to Parma if you want good chicken parm. I'm sure they're not going to do it the same way, but Jesus, I think Parma. I think that Parma is an American creation, an Italian-American creation, kind of like fettuccine Alfredo, for the most part is an Italian-American invention. So I'm sorry if they don't have those, but Jesus H. They do make a fettuccine, an Alfredo in fettuccine Alfredo or whatever in Italy. It just doesn't have any cream. It's warm pasta water, butter, and Parmesan cheese. Parmigiano Reggiano to be specific. And it's all mixed together. It becomes a big creamy yumminess. You don't need cream. I mean, butter's kind of cream anyhow, isn't it? But there you go.
Yeah, more or less.
All right, well, they got that one wrong.
Ruined fettuccine Alfredo, freaking Italians. I swear to God.
They did it right because, I mean, that's how they make it there. And I don't know if you've ever tried it. It works. It works really well.
I've never been to Italy, so I've never tried Italian. Legit Italian food. But that's the thing, too, though, man. You try places here stateside, like, oh, this is authentic Italiano, you know? And you're like, is it really?
Well, a good example is what's the big Italian place downtown Indianapolis? It's not really Italian. It's run by Greeks and was started by Greeks.
I can't think of the one downtown.
It's the generic one. Like Spaghetti Factory? Spaghetti Factory, yeah. That's not Italian food. I'm sorry. It
looks like every bit of Italian food I've ever had in my life. So I can't imagine it being authentic.
It's not even good Italian American food. It was horrible. I went there.
It's nothing
not
special.
Good.
It's nothing special. Mateo's here in Noblesville is better.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's pricier, but it's better.
Yes. Well,
they
try a little harder. They try a little harder to be closer to authentic. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Did I tell you the story about going to we went to Mateo's with one of E's friends a handful of years back?
No.
This is pre-kids, I guess, so more than a handful of years. Her friend's husband comes from a wealthy family and stuff like that. We're eating and everything like that. He's like, "Hey, you guys want to do a bottle of wine?" And I'm like, "Sure." Looking over the wine list. Wine list has no prices, of course.
Of course.
We'll have the They bring 2 bottles. Bring 2 bottles. And the bill came. And he looked at the bill and he goes, "We'll be covering the price of this bill." Each bottle is like $220.
Holy Christ!
God, damn, that wasn't that good of wine. I'll tell you that much right now.
No, there's no way that's good. That's that much better that it needs that.
Well,
yeah, I mean,
yeah.
I once had a whole bottle after I got married. My then wife and I had a $250 bottle of champagne.
Good to Beppo.
And it was, I mean, it was okay.
Yeah.
It was good. It didn't blow my balls off or anything. So there's that. Olive Garden. Oh God, Fazoli's disgusting. All right. Anyhow, sorry.
It's if you just got a quick hankering for some kind of a pasta dish.
I guess
I would prefer to make it myself, quite frankly. I feel like my spaghetti with meat sauce is better than any of the Fazoli's or Olive Garden.
Yeah. What's the spaghetti and meat called again? Obviously, you can buy it. Ragu. It's a ragu. That's what it's called.
Oh.
Ragu. I know we think of it as the name on the bottle, right? The brand ragu, but a ragu is basically a meat sauce with tomatoes. And you can either make a good one or you can make a really shitty one, or you can just eat it out of the bottle, and that's disgusting. The bottle stuff is gross.
You get the spaghetti sauce that has the meat already in the bottle.
Yes.
It's like, ugh.
Prego is, you know, I ate the Prego one when I was in college, right? We all had to. You buy the shit in the bottle, you get home from classes, boil some pasta, and you pour some disgusting Prego ragu over it. Anyhow, their Alfredo tastes like ass. All bottled Alfredo tastes like ass. Yeah. So, now, all right, this show's turning into 2 foodies. We need to move on. All right.
Keith 25 says Cajun chicken spaghetti is the best dish I make.
That is damn good if you do it right. Yep. Yep.
Okay, we're gonna.
But again, that's Cajun. Has a lot of French influences, and the spicing is obviously going to be Southern or French French American. Nasik for $5. Have you guys heard the rumor of new sponsor for 2026? I don't know what that is. What am I missing?
Groupon, you get insert product here for significantly cheaper. It's like you can go get a $50 gift certificate to Fazoli's for $25.
Okay. Yeah.
At least I'm assuming that's a joke. He's not referring to a new sponsor. It has to be a new sponsor for 2026. Basically saying, I'm assuming I'm reading into this, Eldon, that you're saying that tickets to the World Cup are going to be cheaper or are going to be cheaper because they're not selling well.
Right.
Assuming that's what you're referring to.
Might be. We got Nathan and Brian talking about paella. Yes, that's delicious. Very delicious. But that is Spanish, not Italian. I guess you could still call it Mediterranean. Mean anything around the Mediterranean, right? Any country. Doesn't that all count as Mediterranean food? Northern African food, Greek, Italian, Southern France,
There's
Southern
definitely differences there, but
Spain.
yeah, you could lump it in there, I guess, if you want to.
I don't know. I don't know where you cut it off on calling things Mediterranean food, but that's my favorite food. I mean, if I had to lump it all together. Although I did go on a Japanese food thing many years ago for like a year straight, to the point where I couldn't eat Japanese food anymore. I'm like, okay, dude, you overdid it. You ate Japanese food for a year straight. Stop.
I feel like there's one type of food, if I had to sit down and eat the rest of my life, I feel like stir fry has to be up there because you can do so many different things with it.
Yeah, I'd agree. That's Chinese. Yeah.
Lo mein, you can do rice with it, and some random vegetables, different types of meats, different types of sauces. Although I guess in fairness, steak's up there with me too. I'll be happy with steak.
Yeah, I could eat that. For me, lobster, I'd eat that every day if they'd let me, or if it was affordable.
Butter shortage, if that was the case.
Yeah, and I'd be dead soon with all the butter I use on it. All right, Landon Donovan coming out with his Klinsmann comments. This doesn't even tell the full story. Part of this, which is tricky, he's talking to Tim here, and Tim references that there's a book coming out with all the Klinsmann detail stuff in it.
So he kind of alludes to that with the notes comment towards the end.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, why don't you just say that he was probably writing a book? But then I guess maybe he did in the full clip.
Is the book out?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I would imagine at this point you'd have. I mean, why wouldn't you have had it done by now?
It seems like if it were already out, people would be quoting the parts of the book where he talks about not, making the team. And hopefully there's all the juicy details in there. But I doubt some of the things that Donovan knows about why he didn't make the team that are personal are going to be in there. I don't know how detailed this is going to get. I hope it gets as detailed as the stuff we know.
I don't think
we've
Klinsmann
talked
would
about
sit there and write a book saying, and Donovan hurt my feels when he failed at Bayern Munich and skipped out on games.
Well, that's just a suspicion that somebody has that he never got over losing his job at Bayern, and that the German press laughed at him for bringing Landon to the team, right?
I would imagine the book in the notes, because he even says, hey, you can look over my notes. I took notes all during that time period. It probably emphasized that, Donovan took his hiatus. He came back. He didn't have a great season with the LA Galaxy. Yeah, he had a pretty good Gold Cup with us, but we just felt there were other people better.
Who holds a bigger grudge against Klinsmann than LD?
Yes, it's Tillman.
It's Timmy.
I never knew this.
Like some hatchets are meant to be buried. It's like, I don't know.
Not buried. Hatchets remain be in place or something like that, yeah.
Well, we had heard that when the team, some of the players found out that Donovan had been cut, there was sort of a mini, like, hey, what the fuck is that all about in camp? Yeah. And even one of the assistant coaches quit over it too. And I can't remember his name right now. But there was a bit of a brouhaha by the veterans on the team who were like, man, that's just fucking raw. That's bullshit. We could use this guy in the World Cup completely. He still had a lot to give. And Tim says that on this year as well. But
maybe Scott Walter says Amazon says it's coming out next year.
Damn.
But I don't know if that has to do more with Donovan's erotic novel.
Donovan
Tony says
reads.
The book's not out yet.
Okay, thank you. Donovan reads erotic novels. You know what? He might. Then there's nothing wrong with that.
Which role do you think he puts himself into?
Oh, let's not go there, Twinkie boy. All right, we're going to get in trouble.
What does that mean?
Well, you're trying to make anyhow. Oh, God, I'm not going to explain that one. All right. Get me in
So
trouble.
maybe he just wants a burly man to come and save him.
That's what I was talking about. Let's not go there. All right.
So if you remember at the end of 2014, October 10th, 10/10, ironically, I had a send-off game in Hartford with US Soccer. Sunil Gulati, I'm really, really grateful to him.
How many people say that?
Well, there are other people, not Bob Bradley. Let's just put it that way.
No, not Bob Bradley.
Bob Bradley fucking hates Sunil Gulati. All right. We know we were friends with people that were at a party with Bob Bradley after he got fired, who went on a tirade in front of the whole party after a few, I don't know, drinks. I don't know. But he did relay the quotes from the party. It wasn't a giant party. It was kind of like friends of friends of friends. And yeah, I wonder where that guy is nowadays. We haven't talked to him forever. Anyhow, he would have been a good guy to stay in touch with. But yeah, Bob Bradley said he would never play for or coach ever again. Want nothing to do with U.S. Soccer until Sunil Gulati was gone. He felt totally
So you're saying this hope, huh?
stabbed in the back. So, and really, they did kind of come out of nowhere, right? And I'm not sure it was really that big of an improvement, honestly. It probably wasn't.
I mean, Bradley had his Keystone win.
Yeah.
And Klinsmann came in, had some Keystone wins, especially in Europe.
Right.
Did the team perform any better for Klinsmann as they did? I mean, Klinsmann had a what place did we get in the Copa that he coached in? Was it like
I don't know. I look at World Cups more than anything else. So.
That's fair. I mean,
in that case, they're just about the same. So,
sure.
There you go. Although you could say the group that Klinsmann was in was harder. Group of death. Yeah.
Oh, I think that's a fair thing to say. Yes.
Yeah.
It was more of an accomplishment. Yes.
Right.
A plane for me and 15 family members flew us all from LA to Hartford for the game. I wasn't part of the camp. But they flew me in to allow me to have a send-off game in Hartford. And when I got there, Jurgen and I sat in a bar.
I didn't even know this. Thank you for the question.
We sat in a bar. We just talked because
sat at a bar and talked.
You know, and the crazy thing is they talked about that they disagreed with the decision. It's like, okay, like you already had that conversation when you got cut. Now we're going to have it again. But I understand why, because I don't think Landon ever really fully emotionally recovered from that. Because we're talking about months later, right? After he didn't make the World Cup. Now, months later, he's going to get a goodbye game, which Klinsmann had no part in helping happen. In fact, he wanted no part of that.
He's going to keep spoiling this entire clip.
Well, you already spoiled most of it anyhow.
It was awkward, right? He never would have wanted me to be called in there, right? And have that. The interesting part was he came and I was there first and he came and sat down and he had a backpack with him. And I was like, this is kind of weird. Anyway, we just talked and, we said our piece and I didn't agree. And, he thought he was doing what was best for the team and whatever. And then he said at one point, this was really interesting. He's like, and I journaled everything that happened during all of this time. And I kept notes on everything that happened. And I'm happy to show you.
That's weird.
So, before he gets into that, though, maybe playing devil's advocate here, but maybe Klinsmann was journaling and documenting everything that happened, not because of Donovan's scenario, but because of the team he's coaching, and he wants notes to go back on when he writes his memoir, if you will.
Maybe, but in that case, you still leave out anything that's going to make you look like you had a personal vendetta against a player.
I don't disagree, and yes, it's weird that he's saying, hey, if you want to look at my notes about why I cut you, you can more welcome to. But I was prefacing this before Donovan gets into this thing. Like, why would you do this unless you know you need to make sure your story's straight,
Yeah, because that's a lot of people do that either for what you just said so they can write a book later, or the most obvious reason usually is CYA, cover your ass. Yeah.
And I was like, it was really interesting that he and the takeaway was he knew what he was doing. It's very calculated, and he was making sure he took notes because he either had to justify it to somebody, or he felt like you only take notes with things or keep recordings of things when you're kind of scared about what the outcome could be.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I mean, I understand why why he might be looking at that comment from a not a personal standpoint, but like a standpoint that it's all around him, about him.
Yeah.
Hey, I wrote these notes about why I left you off. If you want to look at it, but again, I'm just playing devil's advocate that maybe he's just taking notes and everything for a pre-planned book that he had always dreamt of since he was a little child.
Well, it's like, okay, you meet up with an old girlfriend for the first time in years, right? You broke up with her, broke her heart, or whatever, and you pack up your little, notebook that you might have, for whatever reason, had at the time, right? And in it is just all the things in your notes about how she did this wrong, or, she doesn't brush her teeth enough, or her breath stinks, or her boobs are shaped oddly, or, she is a bad, the sound of her laugh is a cackle and it's totally annoying. Like, you're going to really show that? He had no intention, and Donovan had certainly no intention of reading it.
Yeah.
He had no intention. Here, look, page 32. I bookmarked them all. Here's page 47. Remember that time when you accidentally spit on my cleats in practice? I didn't like that. Yeah. Oh, no, hold on. Page 82. This is the time I was suspected that you might have talked to Brian Strauss for that article. That didn't make me very happy. I was a little suspicious, but that's not going to be in there, right? It's not going to be in there. All right.
Rob Garcia said the wish Brett would let the whole clip play and talk about it after instead of pausing every 5 seconds. It's a good question, quite frankly, because people ask us whenever you have people who do reactions to videos. And we do it because we don't want to get copyright struck.
Yes, it's mostly a copyright strike that we're worried about here.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
Generally speaking, the frame you want to look at is about 12 to 15 seconds max.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we go a little further. There are definitely some channels that, like a Jimmy Show and stuff like that, we might play 30, 35 seconds or whatever to get the whole point out first.
Right.
I don't see him or CBS Golazo actually striking us for doing that.
Right.
But you never know. We got struck for one of those fluff videos before.
Yes.
I mean, come on now.
And we might for this one too. Who knows if that woman chasing the ducks?
Yeah, exactly right.
Is owned by some weird company in California that struck us once. So yeah. Dear Diary.
Says, Dear Diary. I left Donovan off the roster for the 2014 World Cup. Ha 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 ha.
Well, that'd be Jonathan Klinsmann's entry. All right.
That's fair enough, too.
For the 188 of you here now, make sure you like and subscribe and share with your grandma. Let's get this bitch over 200 here soon. All right. Here we
Marsh decided to mention in the comments that the Real Madrid game is starting. I said, fuck off with that, basically. Audience is staying here. And then he follows up saying, my Canada could beat Real Madrid.
Yeah, that game is starting right now. Shit, I got to go over and check that out on the screen.
Derek's sidetracked now, too.
No, you go ahead.
So it was interesting, but I give him credit for sitting down. He also, apologized for his son being obnoxious.
That's the first time anyone's mentioned that. Since we're the only ones who bring that up. No one brings it up. No one even remembers it. It's crazy. People you talk about, they're like, what? No. What do you mean? His son said something. Yeah, his son tweeted out, ha, 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 ha. You got cut.
And it's one thing that he brings back up, but the fact that he says he apologized for his son being obnoxious,
yes,
this leads me to think myself that Donovan's not completely over that aspect either.
Well, it also leads me to think,
which is fine. I wouldn't be either. I'd be like that little shit.
It's not that he disagreed with his son, but he did think it was a little over the top and a little obnoxious. But the general feeling is, why does Jonathan Klinsmann, who at this time is in high school? Why is
with our U17s or whatever? Yeah.
Why is he happy about that? So it's very obvious that in the Klinsmann household, this discussion has been had at the dinner table with wife and kids. And Klinsmann has definitely let something loose at the dinner table about Landon Donovan, because why else would his son know? or have a grudge against Donovan as well. Very weird. Ha ha ha. I didn't even realize. AKA, he didn't mention Donovan by name. Yeah, but we all knew. Everyone knew.
Yeah.
Yes, we all knew. Yep, what that was. So, and
Well,
he had to take it down. He had to take it down. He took it down.
This is about as cryptic as Greg Berhalter mentioning his story at the seminar or whatever.
Right.
He didn't mention Gio by name, but come on, guys, that's
We all knew it
right there.
It wasn't that cryptic, Fumar, at all. It was not. Everybody and their mom knew.
The announcer, the roster got announced. That tweet came out immediately. There's only one serious omission.
Right.
Yeah. Oh man.
And if he didn't mean that, then why did he apologize? Why did Jurgen apologize to Landon about it?
We got you. Don't worry about. Yeah. I mean,
yeah. No, we got it.
More cryptic, but yeah, it was still really obvious.
Yes.
And at the time, everybody ran with it. They all knew what he was talking about and stuff like that.
Right.
So.
And then everyone forgot about it.
I don't know. Weird.
Just during that time. And then, look, my choices were on the field when I got subbed off. I think it was the 40th minute or so. I was still upset with him. I still, I didn't want to give him any time, but you also don't want to make a bigger deal out of it. And so we had one final handshake, and that was that.
All I would say to the general public is in a decision where a legendary player who still has so much to offer that team going into a major tournament could never, ever be making a decision. I mean, quote him, that's best for the team without asking the senior players on that team for their opinion.
I don't know if that's always a necessity, but
I mean, isn't the narrative that when Greg got rehired and there was the narrative came out that they were going to bring in Jess March, but then they talked to the players and the players made the decision. Didn't a lot of the media come out and say well, they shouldn't be including the players in that decision at all?
Yeah.
So right. I mean, it just this comment though screams from a personal bias, which is fine to have. I mean, he was there. I mean, you're going to have a personal bias, and you're one of your long-time running friends that you've played with for a decade plus is being unceremoniously left off a 2014 World Cup. I mean, you might have a little more bias towards it, but I mean, does the coach really need to address the senior players and say, hey, I was thinking about leaving Donovan off because he kind of hurt my feelings when he didn't, play with us during the World Cup qualifying matches. Are you guys cool with that?
Right.
Why would he possibly do that?
I don't know. It makes no sense to me. And by the way, I am on DAZN right now, and I don't see any of the games.
Didn't somebody say that's actually sounds out to something that's like DAZN or whatever?
DAZN. Oh, here
DAZN,
it is.
It was DAZN. Yes, thank you.
It's on DAZN, and yeah, okay, I found it. I actually had to go down to the section on the crossbar that said Club World Cup in order to get to. They're playing the Malmedy game from yesterday. Why? They're playing that live too? I don't want to watch that. I want to watch the games that are on right now. Put that as the first thing that pops on my screen when I go to DAZN. I don't get it. Anyhow, are we done with this? We should move on.
Well, no, the Hatchet thing, but I wanted to bring up Nate's question.
Did they bring this up again recently? Why are they doing Who the Fuck Cares? They're literally gaslighting a country by reigniting this powder keg. Are they trying to compare it to the Pulisic poach? I don't think so. It was a question from one of the many questions they get in their comment section that the producer gal picks for them, and they are not aware at all what those questions are going to be.
But I mean, I guess to answer Nate's other question here, in the sense is that this question may have stemmed from Donovan's comments about Pulisic, and being the arbiter of knowing. I know better than most people know. If you take a break, you might get cut. The question may have stemmed from that discussion. But you know how it is. The discussion comes out, and the questions fill up the comment section, And I'm sure she goes through there and just finds one that sounds interesting and pulls them up.
Yeah. Okay.
I want to bring up the last part because I was unaware that Timmy really had any grudges against Klinsmann.
Yeah, I didn't know.
So you can read between the lines, but you won't have.
Good. Sorry.
Go ahead. You can keep playing.
Have to. The senior players on that team were never asked for their opinion. So it's impossible as a manager to make a decision that's best for the team without gaining that knowledge before the decision.
So I have to ask the obvious follow-up here, otherwise I'm bad at my job. So, Tim, you and Jurgen Klinsmann have not had a conversation since he left the national team about that period in time.
I don't need a conversation with him. There's nothing to bury. Sometimes hatchets need to stay where they are.
Damn. Yeah, there's got to be something else going on there between those two. I don't know what it is. And maybe Timmy was one of the Brian Strauss leakers. Who knows?
Well, at the very minimum, maybe Timmy felt that some of players that are integral players to the team kind of got sandbagged by the whole thing. Like, maybe it was Boca that was the one who lost his captaincy, right?
Yeah. Maybe
he was part of it, but there may have been other people that got called out during that whole stint that maybe just like that motherfucker,
Yeah.
It could have all started from there. It doesn't necessarily have to be one of the leakers, but it could have been rubbed the wrong way, if you will.
And I think Klinsmann would say sometimes the team doesn't know what's best for them. That's my job as the manager to figure out.
Yeah.
Okay. So
that's kind of my point earlier. It's like why would you don't have to get teams involvement there.
No.
Players at clubs get transferred all the time. They bring in other players. They don't consult.
No, they don't. Okay. That's enough of that. All the drama going on here this week. Jesus. Drama.
Yeah. What we got next? Oh, yeah. More drama coming in. More drama inbound. But you had a conversation with Max. I guess without spilling any details, how'd that conversation go?
Oh, it wasn't really a conversation. He was leaving for his flight. And I said, have a good flight and peace. That's it. And I think he gave me the thumbs up or whatever back. That's it.
So aside from just saying, hey, despite the fact that, this comment could have been thought to be including us.
Oh, it did. It was us. It was us.
Okay.
It was us. And the only way I absolutely know it was us is because he used the baby giraffe reference.
The baby giraffe thing, yeah. Because, I don't know if I've seen anybody else.
No one else has
Twitter
done that.
uses the baby giraffe. I think Bambi's taken a hold.
Well, I didn't use it on Twitter. He watched our live broadcast, apparently. Yeah.
But it's. We also got checked into saying that we weren't the first people to use coin the Bambi term.
No, I guess other people used it too before us, but
we got more outreach.
I guess, yeah.
Our massive, not even quite 4,000 sub channel.
Yeah. Hey, usually we're way above 200 by now, so must be a busy night in soccer.
Watching Real Madrid right now, yeah.
Is that what's going
on? Maybe I'm gonna play the clip real quick. I'm gonna pull up what you responded on Twitter as well, and we'll bury the hatchet here as far as not with Max, because I don't think there's any hatchet that needs to be buried.
I don't think there's any issue.
No, it's fine. It's fine if he wants to call us out, and I'm not saying he is per se, but if he was and he didn't want to necessarily do it by calling us out, that's fine too. But he doesn't have to agree with us.
No, he doesn't.
You don't have to agree with him. That's okay. And guess what? We're all still cool.
Yeah. It's not a gigantic deal. No. It was just, I think a lot of people fairly said, hey, that's not really even that bad of a thing to say. Because we use it as a metaphor. Like we're watching the game live and he's tripping and falling all over himself. I'm like, he's looking like a baby giraffe out there. That's a metaphor for how it looks to me. Yeah. It's not an indictment of his character. So
it has nothing to do with him having a long neck and gangly legs.
And being looking like he's
he doesn't have, guys. He doesn't have a long neck or gangly legs. He is 6'4", but
he is 6'4".
He's a tall guy.
Yeah, he's built fairly balanced.
All right, so here's the short end of the clip. We'll just cover the entry part of it. We don't have to go too far into it.
Yeah.
Before I talk about the tournament, I want to say something about Patrick Ajimang and just how disappointed I am when I go on social media. I know that's not all the U.S. fans, but some of the things that are said about a player that they don't approve of is just truly disgusting. Comparing Patrick Ajimang to Bambi or a newborn giraffe or whatever this is, poking fun at him for a guy who just scored the game-winning goal for your country. You can be critical, but you cannot be mean. And all of you are mean. And from accounts that you read, it's like, what are you doing? This is one of our guys. And he reads this stuff.
He might read it. I don't know.
I don't think he necessarily goes out and reads random Twitter posts and stuff like that. I think and this is going to lead us into the comment here in a second, but the going to his personal page and saying, you suck, Bambi.
Yeah, that was not good.
Yeah, that's a bit different. But some rando on Twitter saying, dude, Bambi sucks. One, Ajimang's not going to see that. And two, if he does see it, he's going on to his feed anyways.
Right.
He's not actively seeking him out. He's not trying to be mean to him, in face and everything like that. He's, quite frankly, you can say that. We've had this argument for 5-6 years now, it seems like.
Yeah.
Where you can't say that the players suck. These players suck. That's just mean. I'm like, no, it's fine for us to say this player sucks.
I don't think we say they suck. We break down why they're not doing well.
Well, and that's one thing I specified, and I'm like, hey, it's fine to criticize a player. It's fine to poke fun as long as you're backing it up with something like, oh, this dude has cement boots for his cleats.
Right.
Well, you're not saying he really has cement on his boots. You're saying he has a horrible first touch right now.
It's a metaphor. Yeah, again, most of the shit is a metaphor. Saying that, for instance, that Miazga kicked Berhalter's dog is a metaphor for there's a problem between these two people. They don't like each other. All right, that's all it is. It's not a literal thing that happened.
We still have to add allegedly in there.
I mean, it's ridiculous, but it is what it is. I like Untouchable said, but Derek's a bully. Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I'm really a nice guy for the most part. So
yeah, we don't need to continue playing this, but there was a part in there when he talks about, Sargent's not really producing with the U.S. men's national team. Haji Wright, well, I don't need to see any more of Haji Wright, quite frankly.
That was weird. Yeah,
and I was like, wait a second, that seems more harsh than saying that he's Bambi.
Yeah,
that's my personal take on it.
I don't need to see any more of that guy.
But he's perfectly in his right to say that.
He's allowed to say it. Yes,
you're okay if you do not rate Haji Wright, and you're like, well, I don't need to see any more of him. Maybe he's saying in the sense of we already know what we are going to get from Haji Wright. I want to see what we can get from Ajimang instead.
Well, we don't need much choice because now it's down to Bambi and White, and I'm going to still call him Bambi. I'm sorry, I don't care.
Oh, 100%. And I even emphasize that when he scores a goal or does something great, I want the El Bambito to take off. I want that to be his Dark Brendan.
Yep.
I really do. I think El Bambito is great. It's a great nickname.
Yeah, I think El Bambito is great. Just like we can go from meh Brendan to Dark Brendan.
Yeah,
we want Dark Brendan, but we just don't get a lot of Dark Brendan.
Give us El Bambito.
Yes, give us Bambito for the rest of this tournament so Seriously. We can win it. Yes, please.
So so I don't think using the terms Bambi or comparing him to a baby giraffe is disgusting. Personally,
no, it's not.
And he's looking. I mean, I think Max is quite frankly looking at it from a personal standpoint, and since that he talks to these players, he interviews them from time to time or whatever, and he knows that these players see some of the social media things. Hell, McKenzie had an interview where he talked about where he's like, we see this shit on social media all the time. The best thing you can do is just ignore it or use it as a motivation to get better.
Sure.
But I mean, I don't think. If anything, I hope Ajimang looks at this and says, "Well, they're calling me Bambi because they say I'm falling down too much. Maybe I should do X, Y, and Z."
Right.
I don't know if that would be the case or anything like that.
I think that some of these guys would be harsher in their metaphors or in their criticism if they weren't at some point hoping they might have this player on their show and they don't want that hanging over their shoulders, right?
Yeah.
Well, we don't want any players on our show. I mean, not current ones for sure. So, anyhow, yeah, it's a lot of nothing. And I guess my point is your point earlier in the end of my X post was, all I just don't want you to do. I don't want you to do this. And if you did it, some of you might have done it. That's fine. You can do whatever you want. I can't stop you.
We're not here to, well, that's the thing. And I tell this to people who always criticize us for not calling people out for certain things. I'm not here to police people's comments.
I am not here to police any of your comments.
I'm not your dad. I'm not your dad. I'm not here to tell you what you can and cannot say.
I'm not your mom wearing a strap on. I'm not here to tell you what to do. Okay. So I'm not even your stepsister. Okay. So you're going to do whatever you do. I just had my own personal opinion that's, for me, is what crosses the line for me. I'm not going on to Aguiman's personal page and saying, hey, you look like a little bitch out there, you little giraffe baby. You know?
Who's your daddy and what does he do?
Just not going to do that. Okay. All right. Well, looks like we got our regular bully in our chat tonight. All right.
Not bully, but bullied, I guess.
Well, he thinks he's bullied, but he's
actually. Can you explain why you guys think it's cool to insult people online?
I've never done that.
Never. Who am I insulting? I mean, if he's referring to Bambi in this situation, again, it's a metaphor. It's a joke. We're emphasizing that he's falling over a lot. We could just simply say, "Oh, Ajiman's on the ground again. Oh, Ajiman's on the ground again."
Yeah.
But we're a comedy show in the sense that we cover it with some humor. We don't take ourselves overly seriously. Just look at our countdown at the beginning of the show. Look at our intros. We're not here to be a serious soccer show. We are serious about the soccer, but we do it with a light heart.
Yes, we do it with light heart. We are not Dark Lords. And hey, if you think you could do better than the 1,000 viewers that we have that are under 13, go for it.
Colin, your argument is basically, I think it's okay to mock people. You mock us all the time.
You mock us constantly.
All the time.
You hypocritical piece of shit. Oh my God.
All the time too, man. I mean,
you just go to fucking X and look at all your comments. It's constant ridicule and bashing and lying out loud about things I said about Luna and otherwise. You're the biggest hypocrite in the world. You fucking prick. Jesus Christ. Get a fucking look in the mirror moment. Hilarious. All right, let's move on. Let's move on.
Okay, so this whole debate on with Ajiman is fascinating since when you start scouring the YouTube or the U.S. men's national team Twitter as a whole, like the fan bases, and you basically come across two major pools of fans. You have ones who will defend Ajiman. You'll have some who don't rate him and claims he needs to be out.
Right.
Tact and Will and Pete have been very vocal about Ajiman. Just simply say, I mean, I'm going to paraphrase, but I'm also going to keep it PG related here. Is simply saying that they don't rate him. They don't like him. They don't think he's that good.
Yeah.
And they give their reasons. Then that's their opinion on it.
Right. And I think that's fine. And it's kind of the same thing when we watch the games live. We're like, okay, you can't fall there. You got to stay up right there. All right. You got to have a better first touch, right? Because Luna was feeding him balls early in this window, and they would just bounce off of him. So that made Luna look ineffective.
Colin, you're gonna give up far quicker than we will.
Trust me.
I really don't care if you're gonna try bullying, quote unquote, bullying us. You don't bully us. You can't bully me. You've got no power over me, man. It's not gonna happen. Sorry.
Yep. All right.
And
I mean,
if worse came to worse, if I was really affected by what you had to say, Colin, like all the mean things you say and stuff like that, there's a quick button I can just simply click, and that's to block you. And I never have to deal with you ever again. I can block you out of the chat if I wanted to. I don't, because I don't want to have a quote, I guess we wouldn't say echo chamber, but I'd like to have dissenting opinions in the chat.
Yeah.
They want to be verbal about it. It's fine.
That's why we keep reading your stuff all the time. You're here all the time, and we read the stuff that you post. I don't know what more you want. Oh, I know what you want.
YouTube boxing, Brett the Bully versus Colin.
As you said, you want to come on the show. Well, it's not happening. Okay? We don't have many guests on the show. It's a very limited thing. And when we had the call-in show, you had your opportunity. We've had a couple of those. You didn't show. I don't know what you want from me. All right.
Well, regardless, this whole back and forth with the hate and the love and the hate and the love and apparently James SKC James here says hashtag R word MLS moves and hashtag R word tactical manager.
Yeah, I mean, I just ignore this and move on. I don't even know what it's supposed to mean either.
It's fascinating when you simply sit there and say, I don't like him, X, Y, and Z. He's got a bad hold of play, whatever. He falls over a lot, and then all of a sudden somebody says you need to get graped. So
yeah.
It's social media. Who cares?
Yeah, James. If you look at how many people follow his page, nobody. So it's not a big.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a big thing. So I was telling Will the other day, I would just move on from those kind of things.
I got next. Yeah. Oh. Let's jump into Colin's favorite topic here.
Do not panic. Do not panic. Cap them now. Cap them now. All right. Do not panic from Tom Bogart.
Yeah.
Don't bogart that joint, my friend. U.S. men's national team manager Mauricio Pochettino is at Toyota Stadium to watch FC Dallas versus San Jose Earthquakes. And then he trolls right here. Lucho Costa is still in process of getting citizenship and would be eligible for a call-up as his plan. What? There's more, right?
No. I'll pull it up and take a look here real quick.
As his plan. Because he never really confirms that is what's going on here with Poch. I don't think that Pochettino's going there to scout. I really don't. But he is lighting shit up with a troll here. Lucho starts. Poch is watching. The two have spoke. Ooh. So, about what? We don't know.
Well,
but Tom is definitely tickling the nutsack here.
Yeah. So I said, I think this puts to rest that Poch is not scouting out dual net. Wait, Lucho doesn't have citizenship and he is in talks?
Yeah.
I mean, do you think it's possible that Poch has simply reached out to the agents of Brown, Chase, etc., and given the response, simply hasn't reached out to players yet? I mean, that's more of an honest question there, more so than anything.
I don't think he would have. If anybody did, it would be the assistant coaches, at best.
I'm just saying. I mean, I know that we played our match against Haiti in Dallas. I would have assumed that at that point we would have maybe after a day or so moved on to Minnesota, which is where we're playing Costa Rica, and made the flight over, had a couple days to relax and recover, and get back up to sharpness. But I mean, that game was yesterday, so is the team still in Dallas?
Well, Poch is, so
that's fair too. The team could be in Minnesota, and Poch could still be lingering back. But why to watch the Dallas game? Dallas San Jose. Who's he looking at?
I don't know. So, I don't think it's Acosta. That would shock me. It would shock me. Not only because Acosta's not the same player he was 2 years ago, but you got a problem with Tillman and Luna? I think if you had a problem with CAM, you've got that fixed for the most part. And I don't know how much of an upgrade Acosta would be at this point of his career. I didn't even mention Gio Reyna. So, but again, we've talked about the fact that we follow the trend.
Baby. 10 minutes. Woo.
You follow the trend, right? Reyna may not even make this team the way things are going right now.
Well, that's fair. I mean, he hasn't really played, and Poch is in that realm where he's like, "What have you done? What have you done?"
By the way, on this tweet, I called Tom Bogart out, not like in a bad way. I said, "Hey, Tom, and have heard of Nathaniel Brown, right?
Yeah.
Can you explain to me, because I'm a little baffled, why not a single person in the soccer media, press, media, whatever, the ones that are allowed to ask questions, have asked Poach about Nathaniel Brown? Is there any reason why none of you have publicly asked him about Nathaniel Brown, or has that been talked about behind the scene? He said, shit, nothing.
Oh, what?
Yeah. Can you believe that? No, he did not.
Well, shit, man. I found, I don't even know if we brought this up on a show or not, but Will got, over at MLS Moves, he got Will Smithed by Tom Bogert. So Bogert posted a comment about Aguiman was the first, or was like the second fastest person to score 5 goals in X amount of games or whatever. I think Josie being the first one or whatever. And somebody tagged in Will, said, "Hey, at MLS Moves, don't want to see this." And Tom goes, "Keep that name out of my feed."
MLS Moves, huh?
Yeah.
Doesn't like him.
Tommy doesn't like Will.
Well, he probably doesn't like us either, so let's just be fair.
We need to start oh, never mind. I don't want to say anything. I don't want any case of harassment.
A list of writers who don't like us at this point. Yeah, we could create one of those. We know who they are. It's not a secret. All right, Frank Kassler from 499. Howard wrote an article shitting on Klinsmann when Poach was hired. Klinsmann did a good job topping World Cup qualifying out of the group of death and semis of a Copa. Yeah, I don't remember the specifics of his criticism of Klinsmann, but it was something along the lines of hiring a foreign coach who doesn't understand American players, if I remember right. Something like that.
Yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously, you got a German coach. Klinsmann's about as American as a German can get.
This is an apples and oranges argument, though, because yes, Poach does not equal Klinsmann.
But was Klinsmann a happy-go-lucky, type of pat you on your back every day and tell you how good you're doing kind of dude? No, he was not. I will say this: Klinsmann, for the most part, I think, picked better rosters than Poach has so far. And Poach's original rosters were fine, but they let him down, and now he's sticking it to him. So there you go. Anyhow, yeah, that probably could be the root, Frank, of some of this, but obviously something went down before that. That's even more personal than him just being a German. I think he has American citizenship, so he's a German American at this point, Klinsmann.
Well, I mean, I think Frank's point was that Howard, I think that may have been like Howard's like first outing that he was not a huge fan of Klinsmann. Maybe not necessarily been saying, hey, Klinsmann was a problem, but by saying, hey, it's not a great idea to hire a foreign coach who doesn't understand the players or culture.
Well, at least I believe Klinsmann did understand the players and the available players. I don't think Poach had a clue about outside of like 8 players. I don't think he had a clue about American players.
I think Klinsmann had definitely a better understanding of at least our top players.
Yeah, I think so.
Time. I think he also had a better understanding of our culture as a whole, having married an American and lived here for a number of years.
For a decade at that time, yes.
I mean, again, not apples and oranges. It's an apples and oranges argument, quite frankly.
Yeah.
But I do think his whole point was, even if you do have experience in the U.S., if you weren't born and raised here, maybe you don't have the complete understanding of what the American players are. I don't know.
I mean,
I'm speculating here, of course.
Matarazzo hasn't lived in the United States since he was 20 years old. He just comes back here on occasion. He's married to a German woman and has German-American kids. He would probably need to research the hell out of this pool before he took the job, because I'm not sure how aware he is outside of the American players in Europe of what's available. Well, I think if you said Sendejas to Matarazzo, I think he'd look at you like, who?
That's fair. But even then, I would think that it's like he would know the Americans that are in the Bundesliga. He would know Pulisic. I would hope that he would know Pulisic, Musa.
Oh yeah. He'd know the big boys.
McKinney. But then you start talking about like Richards. I mean, does he would he have actually gone out and known who Richards was?
When's the last time you watched an EPL?
Well, no,
game?
never mind. He would know Richards because he played for Hoffenheim. Sure,
That's
would.
true. And Bayern. He started at Bayern.
Yeah, take all that back. So,
He'd still need to research it.
He'd have a pretty solid understanding, at least a solid base.
Klinsmann had been living in the United States for 10 years, he played semi-pro soccer when he moved here as an older gentleman. He married an American. He had lived here for a while. He had watched U.S. soccer for some time at that point and had been tracking it. He knew the players just fine. I think if that's what the attack is from Timmy, I think that's the wrong approach. Now, maybe what Timmy was saying, he just still didn't understand the American player and the American motivation. Okay, maybe that's true.
The culture in that sense of how the players, the mentality of the player compared to what he's experienced over in Germany,
Yeah. All right. Okay, so for the 228 of you here now, make sure you like, subscribe, share it with your grandma. Say hello to your stepsister for us. Always appreciate all the stepsisters that watch the show. AJ1410 for $1.99. Why didn't the NFL create the soccer teams? Well, in some ways, they did.
Some NFL did.
Because
some NBA did.
The major owners, some of NFL teams, like the Hunts and Mr. Like, well, I was going to say Mr. Likes to get a massage in Florida from Asian woman. They were some of the major investors in. So in a way, they kind of did. They were ones that also kept the league afloat when it was about to crash out after a few years too, because things were not going well. All right. Abobasi is not banned. Abobasi has now switched and went to another country, but he might have been banned before. I don't know. But he certainly can't play for us anymore. He's played for, what is the other country? Can't remember. But it's not going to happen anymore. So, all right. What else we got?
No, I was thinking of somebody else when you mentioned that name. Oh, we're still in the dual nap panics here.
No kidding. Phil Eckel.
Philip.
No one calls him Philip. You know that. They all call him Phil.
He's got two P's there, so maybe it's a serious Philip.
Maybe they call him Triple P.
Triple P, yes.
All right, Mr. Eckel seems to have been promoted to the Augsburg U19s for next season. That's good news. It's good news.
I got to bring up Jesse saying, Moose, you're the one who said Yusuf. Remember that?
I did?
No. Oh. Jesse Marsh was talking about Yunus Moof.
Oh, yeah.
He said Yusuf.
He's called him Yusuf.
Yeah, he's not even calling him Yusuf. Well, fuck's Yusuf.
Yeah, no, good. Good calling out, Jesse.
Because I forgot.
Oops. All right.
Hey, there's a 15, 16-year-old or whatever here that's playing for Augsburg's U19s.
That's good. When they're only 15, 16, and they're moving up to the U19s, that's good. It's good news, and we can use all the goalkeepers we can get.
Yeah.
So may God make him good, please. All right.
Henri Chase is off to Salzburg next month.
Japanese football. Henri Chase expected to join RB Salzburg next month. The Austrian Bundesliga sides considered signing him during the Special Club World Cup window, but the move was delayed due to injury. Yes, it was. I don't think he's healthy yet. So it's still a risky move for them. Now, is he going to thrive in the Bundesliga at Salzburg? Yeah. Yeah, he's going to do just fine. Whereas Stuttgart has a lot of good players. For a young kid like him, it's going to take him a while to find a consistent spot. And after that long-ass injury, ooh, boy, rough stuff. All right, Real Madrid finally scored against Salzburg. It is 1-0 Real Madrid over Salzburg.
A little bit of coincidence.
Yeah, I know, isn't it?
I mean, Alanis Morissette might have said, hey, it's ironic.
Yeah, exactly. By the way, we don't.
Salzburg's playing right now.
This goes back to your prior point Way to promote the tweet of the guy who went to Aguiman's personal page. I have no fucking clue who went to Aguiman's personal page. I didn't write down all their names. I didn't put them on a list to ban. Jesus Christ, what a weird thing to say. I have no idea what any of you have done on your off time. Some of you could be kid diddlers for all I know. I don't know that. I have no clue. And I am not here to police what you say on Twitter. Not doing it. I am not your daddy or your mommy. All right, so let's move on from that. Sorry.
I'm assuming he's referring to PT and not Chambers, but
I have no idea.
PT's
who went there or not, I don't care who went there. Like, just hey, it's on you next time. You know, you think about it. You don't have to agree with me too. You can say, hey, fuck off, Derek. I think it's totally okay to go to their pages and go smear them. I mean, I can't stop you from doing it. So
it's our personal take. I mean,
it's just our personal, right? It's our personal line. Yep.
We won't do that.
We're not doing it.
I'll say like U.S. Soccer posted happy birthday to Matt Turner. I replied saying, happy birthday, Matt. Now you need to go find your confidence at Lyon, which may not happen since they've been relegated now.
Well, or it might happen more than you think. Because
I don't know if Lyon, if they do end up staying relegated, because of course they're going to appeal it.
They're challenging it, yeah.
But if it doesn't get appealed and they go to Ligue 2 or whatever the fuck 2 is in French, yeah, okay, good.
Ligue 2, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, so but if they do go there, I don't think they're going to spend $8 million on a goalkeeper.
Yeah.
So I think if they get relegated, that deal is shot, and he's back in Forest.
Not with Leia, though. It's got to be Larry. Derek Bully Zimmerman's nuts.
Oh, Zimmerman's nuts. Yeah, it's definitely Larry. Yeah.
You mean by sucking on him so hard? I know that's what you mean, brother.
You and your man buns, right? You and your man buns.
God, you say one nice thing about a player and it haunts you forever.
It wasn't a nice thing. You're like, he wasn't responsible for any of the 3 goals. That's not even a nice thing. You're just stating a fact.
Oh my God!
He must condition his hair twice a day to get those locks. That's different.
Yes, right. Or the best player on the pitch today was Zimmerman.
Said nobody ever.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not to say Zimmerman hasn't had good games. Just nobody's ever.
Oh, Brett, you can't say that he's had good games. Next, you'll be sucking his butter plums.
No,
Larry will have stuff all about you sucking Zimmerman's nuts next. All right, if Bradley presented his nuts, would you suck them? Which Bradley, Bob or Michael? Probably not much difference. One inherited his set of nuts from the other. They're probably quite similar nuts. All right. I don't know what the answer is to that.
One dangles further to the ground, Derek.
Depends on what drugs I'm on at the time. But I'm probably not going to suck either willingly. There'll have to be weapons involved on their part. Okay.
Transfer news. Who's getting mounted on transfer news? Who's getting over on transfer news? Transfer news. Everyone loves that transfer news but me.
Whatever.
All right. Pedro Soma reportedly will not, because I'm not laughing at Pedro Soma. Sorry. All right.
You're still daydreaming about the.
I'm still imagining.
If only
both Bradleys standing next to each other with their nutsacks out. All right, sorry, it's a horrible thing to have in your
one tier
imagery.
And one's up here, right?
Horrible imagery to have in your head. It really is. But thank you, Larry. Pedro Soma reportedly will not continue at Barca Athletic. His 800 buy option will not be exercised. There's currently offers from teams from the Netherlands. Oh, God, I hope they're good ones from the Netherlands, but who knows? England. Where? Division, like, Ligue 1? Ligue 1? Switzerland. Jesus. Well, that's not always a good move. And other Spanish clubs, just like whatever, these random Spanish clubs all over Spain other Spanish clubs of no repute, so I'm not even going to name them because they're so random.
I mean, his buy option will not be exercised. So, where's he heading back to?
Well, what that means is that they don't think he's ever going to be that great, and so they're not going to really make a whole lot of money off of him. So there's no point paying him $800K to stay when they don't really see much in him, and that's usually what that means. And if people out there don't like that, I'm sorry. I'm just kind of saying what it generally means when a team says, "Yeah, I mean, $800 for Barca, that's just a drop in a bucket." If they believe in you, they're totally whipping out that 800K. No problem.
Is Barca Athletic their second team?
2 team, yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah. So if they're not seeing it, they're not believing it, they're just going to get out now. And because if they thought they could make money,
he's heading back to Cornelia. Cornelia?
Yeah.
His loan ended there.
Yeah. So
they're just like, nah, we're fine. We don't need to spend the $800.
We don't need you. If we did believe in you, we definitely pay the $800 because we see a big payday for us in the future. But we're going to let you go back to where you came and take it from there. So, and then we'll kind of see what happens. So
I imagine the interest or the offers on the table from Netherlands, England, Switzerland, and other Spanish clubs are going to be more loans options.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I doubt there's going to be a purchase option here. Well, maybe a purchase once they loaned, and hey, if you want them, it's $800K.
Right, exactly. It's not much. All right. After a successful season in 3 Bundesliga with VfL Osnabrück, Brian Kao officially signs with Belgian First Division Giants. I threw that in there. Oh, Leuven.
Love that.
It's actually OH
Leuven.
OH Leuven. It would be in German. I don't know what they pronounce it there.
I would say like Leuven. Leuven.
Maybe it's Leuven in Belgian. I don't know.
No,
could be Leuven. Could be Leuven.
All those countries up there all sound the same. Like, right?
It's, we'll see how that works out for him there. At least it's a first division team, right? Yeah. There was a time when Brian Kao looked like he was done, like headed in the wrong direction after going to the Bundesliga. So maybe
was he the Wolfsburg kid?
Yes.
Okay.
Believe so. Yeah. My memory sucks sometimes, but yes. So I think this is a positive step for him. Let's see how much he plays. It's a move going from 3 Bundesliga all the way up to the Belgian First Division. It's not a giant move, but it is a step in the right direction. You'll get looked at next year.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah. You perform there, it's a stepping stone.
Yeah. Nobody watches 3 Bundesliga except for the people in each individual towns that support their teams. Right.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't even know where I could watch 3 Bundesliga. Although I have in the past, so I wonder how I did.
It'd have to be ESPN, right? Because they have 2 and 1. It had to be ESPN.
I may have cheated,
or maybe
at some
Polka.
Point. Yeah, that's true. Could have been. Yeah, the Pokal. All right, Nokai Banks has signed a new contract with FC Augsburg until 2029. 18-year-old talent center back is considered a key player for new head coach Sandro Wagner. As Roma were seriously interested in him during the last winter transfer window, many top clubs are still monitoring him.
Just not poaching the U.S. men's national team, apparently.
Yeah.
I understand again. I know he hasn't really played a bunch for Augsburg yet.
I don't really know how serious the AS Roma thing was. He says they're seriously interested in him during the last winter transfer window. Well, if they were serious, they should have got him for a bargain. Would have been a bargain last winter transfer. They could have got him for pennies on the dollar for sure. But maybe they'd even make like the basic offer. Who knows? Regardless, it's hard to say how that's true. How did I watch those though? PMR? I can't even remember. Did I have to like go on illegal sites to watch those? Because I did watch, or was that on? It might have been on ESPN. You might have been right. Like the lower leagues on ESPN.
I imagine, yeah.
Because I did watch those.
Two, so I wonder if they have 3. Craig Turler actually comes up with a great nickname for Noah Kai. It's Cobra Kai Banks.
Cobra Kai Banks. Anyhow, I think. Oh, you know what? A lot of those teams have their own stream on it. Some of them are free. That might have been how I did it. I can't remember. I do remember that. But
you
that
watched
was
it on X videos. I think Jesse had it first.
XV. There are all kinds of good ones. You can go to X Hamster. They have a lot of good soccer games on X Hamster. That and Spank Bang is one of the top ones. All right, for soccer games.
Before streaming came out, I forgotten all the good. Not the good. Let me rephrase this. But the sketchy streaming sites.
The virus-laden stretch.
Justin TV wasn't one, right?
Might have been,
Justin
yeah.
I'm mixing that up with another porn site, I guess.
Yeah, he's currently in jail somewhere. Justin TV for broadcasting all that shit. Oh my God! I mean, you can't. How long could he have gotten away with that? It looked like he got away with it for like 4 years.
Overseas, you can get away with it.
God, it's crazy how long he got away with that.
Shut it down and everything, but they're not going to extradite somebody for. Rob Garcia says XX in X is good too.
You know, I haven't been to that one when I'm doing my research, so I might have to check that one out.
They don't require driver's license.
It doesn't matter. I have got.
You're vipping.
Yeah, we need them to be our sponsor. Honestly,
Untouchables pulling one back from the early 2000s. Used to get my videos
oh my
from LimeWire.
That's an man.
You never knew what you'd get with LimeWire. Your computer can track some form of virtual
exactly,
SSD, of course.
And the broadcast would go blurry, and then it'd fix itself, and then go blurry and fix itself. Yeah, my God. All right, Bayer Leverkusen have open talks to sign Malik Tillman from PSV. Leverkusen are open to activating his release clause as they consider him an exciting player. Boing. There are no full agreements.
They've been watching his X-Hamster videos too.
Yes, they have. There are no full agreements yet, but more talks scheduled, although we do know that he has agreed to Leverkusen's terms as Tillman. So now it's on PSV on whether they accept the transfer fee and if it's enough for them. And then maybe Reina goes to PSV.
Oh, you beat me to the next point, Derek.
Oh, okay.
Of course, Gio's new agency, Roof, has offered him up to the Dutch Big Three.
His third agency in 4 years, by the way. Ooh. Gio Reyna's new agency,
Poor
Roof.
Poor decision.
Yep, has offered him up to the Dutch Big League 3. Ajax, PSV, and Feyenoord. Now, the question you have to ask is if Greg and Reina can make up and play and still be called up and play games together, right? Can Ernie, who was harassed by Reina's mom and his dad.
I did not even think about that. Good point.
Is that going to be a problem?
Well, okay. Well, they complained and they leaked shit to Ernie, requiring him to be transparent.
To file a report.
They're like, nah, geez, great friends you guys were. But he may not necessarily hold any animosity towards Gio.
I mean, Greg didn't. So, I mean, Greg had him on the teams.
Yeah, I think the higher-ups of U.S. Soccer forced Greg to provide Gio with a happy birthday cake and sing happy birthday to him.
That was weird and awkward.
You want your gig back, Greg? You got to say happy birthday and provide Gio a birthday cake.
Yeah, that was weird and awkward when it happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think bridge under the water under the bridge at this point, maybe. So I certainly wouldn't want to be him, Ernie, and then Reyna's not starting every game because Till stays, and so he's not playing, and then have to get a phone call from Daddy Reyna saying, "Hey, how come my son's not starting or playing?"
I would preface this when it comes to signing a contract with him. I'd reach out to Claudio and say, "Hey, I want to bring Gio in, but I don't want to hear a goddamn word about you when it comes to his soccer career."
If your wife calls,
goddamn, unless you want to call and say, "Dude, great game by Gio there, scored a brace, it's awesome." You can do that shit, but don't talk to me about my job.
Don't call me
playing. Don't call me about that shit.
Yep. Yeah, you would hope they'd be able to work that one out, but it could be a problem.
I mean, ultimately, outside of putting him in a precarious place, they didn't do anything to Ernie. They just forced his hand to be transparent.
Yes.
And then Ernie was probably sitting there going like, "Dude, this shit's just not fucking worth it. I'm going back to Holland.
I'm leaving this shit behind. This is a mess."
Please. Fuck this, as Larry likes to say, WWE narratives.
Yeah. Ivan Henriquez says, "You guys think Reyna and Sebastian Berhalter have beef, and you think there's going to be a fight between both of them if they both get called up and camp together?" No. As I understand it, Reyna and Sebastian are friends and have been. I don't know.
They've known each other their entire lives.
Yes. I don't know what the battle between the parents has done. Obviously, Greg and Gio had to make up and make it a professional relationship because, honestly, Greg was like Gio's uncle his whole life. So that's got to be weird because it makes you feel like even your own uncle screwing you, right? That makes it more personal. If it was like Jurgen Klinsmann, you're like, well, I don't know Jurgen Klinsmann for a hole in the wall, but I grew up with this family. The Reynas and the Berhalters are like best friends. They've been hanging out for 20 years before all this went down. So I would imagine it's all chilled and cooled out. I don't think we're going to see the Berhalters and the Reynas go to dinner anytime soon and hang out anymore. And or at
not the parents.
Right, the parents. And I don't think that if Reyna gets married, he's going to invite the Berhalters to his marriage to come hang out. I don't think that's happening. Yeah. And likewise, the other way, if one of the Berhalter kids gets married, they're not inviting the Reynas to come to the marriage. I think those days are done. I think Ernie got stuck in the middle, like a rock and hard place, sadly for him. Yep. And as long as he can be assured there isn't going to be any drama, I'd say go ahead and sign Reyna. I think he's a really good replacement, like-for-like replacement for Tillman. It's my thoughts.
Yeah.
All right.
We've already talked about this. I'm going to skip the next bit. All right.
Talks underway with player. So, Derby County closing on a deal to sign 24-year-old striker Patrick Agamon from Charlotte FC. Sometimes I read these coming out in the midst of everybody being extremely critical of Aguiman. And I think, is this a master plan by somebody to sort of divert attention away from the criticism and say, look, he's so good, even the teams in the championship are looking at him now, so your criticism's crap. Sometimes I think there's a concerted plan for that. At the same time, it is Derby. Derby are horrible. Derby were horrible last season. And they're going to be horrible again. And they're going to barely be fighting for survival in the championship again. And I think that a large mammal like Aguiman is not going to hurt them. Having him in the, there to receive crosses or play with. It's not like for like totally. He's going to have a little bit rougher time, and a little more technical ability is in fact required to play in the championship. But I don't know. We'll see how it works out. I think if he went, I think he'd find himself to be quite DK-esque.
I think if he goes, it's going to. I think that quite frankly, I think the championship would probably be the best location for him to go to. And here's why I'm going to say this: is the physicality of the championship is going to force him to play more physical.
Yeah, I agree. But Pete said, well, it's kind of a misnomer. Championship's not as physical as it used to be. I watched a shitload of the championship last season. It's still pretty fucking physical.
Yeah.
So big guys can go there and do well. DK being a great example of that. Before he got injured, he was doing just fine. So I think he can have that kind of impact. The question for him will be, he's going to be playing for one of the worst teams in the championship, and how much service is he really going to get? Or are they just going to be lobbing balls up to him all day long, which could very well happen. So I would wish him well on that. I really would.
Yep.
And I mean, listen, to be really clear, this is nothing personal against Aguiman. I hope the kid has a great career.
Yeah.
I just don't think come 2026, if he is on the roster as and again, this is something else Max said, I don't think we're bringing 3 strikers. I think we're learning exactly why, and I think Poach is learning exactly why. You have to bring 3 strikers. Dudes get injured. You got to bring at least 3 strikers, and I think we will bring 3 center forwards to the World Cup. I have no doubt in my mind.
Aji Bambi Mong says, I'm going to score 2 goals on Sunday on 20 attempts.
Well, you know what? I'll take those 2 goals because, quite frankly, when you look at the brackets, we got, I think, the toughest challenge. My brother was sending me his bets today. All right, Canada going to beat Guatemala by about this much? Hell yeah. Although, hey, Guatemala's been feisty. I did warn him. I warned him about a feisty Guatemala. And Canada, not really that impressive. They only beat a team with 8 players on the field and a goalie. They only beat them 2-0. That's pretty pitiful. And the first half was garbage by Canada. I don't know what's going on there. And if had El Salvador kept their head on straight, they would have competed in that game. But they were idiots. They got idiots on that team. Absolute fucking low IQ morons who got red cards in that game for doing the stupidest shit you would ever have imagined. So Canada gonna have some. They could have some issues tomorrow, and so could Mexico, because I don't think Saudi Arabia, even missing some of their major players, who I don't know if they had them on the preliminary roster, since some of all the Saudi teams are going to be out after tonight. You could bring some of those players back into your roster, and if that's the case, hey, look out! Saudis could give Mexico a run tomorrow or this weekend. And I think
I didn't want to show my game plan. That's why it was a struggle bus against El Salvador. There.
Oh, was it a struggle bus? Not impressed by
already qualified. No, they already qualified. No, they didn't qualify. They had to get the result.
Yeah,
or at least a result.
Yes, and they did. Their last 2 games, they looked like shit. I don't know what's going on in Canada, but they look poor, quite poor in the final third.
Who did they play the first game?
Don't ask me that.
5-0 or something like that, or 6-0 or something.
Honduras. Yeah. They wiped the floor with Honduras, and then the other 2 games were supposed to be the easy games, and they struggled in both of those.
All right. I mean, maybe. Oh, never mind. I'll take all that back.
Okay.
But yeah, again, and as far as Patrick's concerned with the U.S. men's national team, we'll criticize him during the game for all his faults. We'll praise him for anything he does successful. And I've said a number of matches so far this Gold Cup and friendly windows that I hope he goes out and bags a hat trick. I really do. I don't think it's going to happen, but I really do.
No, I think Tillman's going to score. But listen, this is not going to be an easy game. It's just not. And I guess we're getting around the time where we do this. But what do you have left before we get there?
Fiorentina is now in the mix for Josh Sargent. Of course, Norwich is going to wants at least $25 million. We'll see what happens, but Udinese, Roma, and Leeds are all in the mix.
I gotta talk to my Sargent friend.
They've got their hats in the mix. They're like, hey, think about us.
I got a Sergeant guy that's never wrong, so
Yeah.
I'll tap in and see what's going on there. Out of all those teams, listen, going to Italy would be much better than going to Leeds. Going to Roma and Udinese, if you play, that is, you are playing, especially with Roma, one of at least a decent team on the level. If you talk about, Serie A, Roma is going to have some decent players on it.
Fiorentina's been historically a decent side. That's always
absolutely
top half the middle. Sometimes competing for the top 5 range, but not consistently. But they're still competing up there, and there's still a challenge for the big boys.
I'm really finding it difficult to believe that Udinese is willing to chunk up $30 million. I'm having a hard time with that one. So for me, it's the other Fiorentina, Roma, or Leeds. My only problem with the Leeds thing is, hey man, it's going to be a long uphill battle all season long to stave off relegation. You go to Fiorentina, you're not getting relegated. You go to Roma, you're not getting relegated. It's not happening. You go to Leeds, good luck with that. And get ready for some fans to be right up your fucking colon all season, because they will let you know. If you're having a bad, you're not producing, they're going to be up your ass so hard, you're going to have to take Advil every morning, because that anus is going to hurt when you go on to social media or read the paper or turn on your TV. It's going to be a bitch. So I wish them the best. But
I'll say this much: he has a handful of years in England at this point, and feel like he has an understanding of the English fan base, because it wasn't always rainbows and cupcakes. Rainbows and butterflies, I think is the phrase itself. The first season, maybe the first 2 seasons were relatively rough because you still had Pookie in the mix, taking away, and then Josh got pushed out wide, pushed in the middle. It wasn't what we experienced over the last couple years. So
yeah. You would think he knows what's coming. And here's the issue that Sargent has when he goes to a new club and he's not the man immediately. Doesn't handle that real well when he's not the man, and that pressure can make him crack. So we'll see. If he goes there and he's the same forceful player he is at Norwich, where he says, give me the fucking ball. Because if he reverts back to US men's national team, Sargent, and isn't saying, pass me the fucking ball or else, or give me hey, you missed me. I was fucking wide open. If he doesn't continue that attitude from Norwich to Leeds, then it's like starting all over again for him. And he really can't afford that.
Tony says Sargent to Italy is good, but the food is terrible.
Yeah, the food's horrible.
This is more pure out here, but Tom says Connor will stick it in and twist. Leeds Connor, the podcast.
Show. I don't think Connor last show I watched was a while ago, but he seemed like, okay, let's take him.
Who's KG? You know who KG is?
No.
I'm guessing another Leeds person, but doesn't want Sargent either.
All right.
I could see some of the higher up, podcasters and stuff like that follow the team and whatnot may want to go out and spend $25 million on maybe what they consider a better commodity,
or a proven commodity at that level.
Good.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
Leeds. The good thing about Leeds, in the sense, the problem is that they'll leak goals. But the good thing about Leeds is that they're at least offensive enough in the sense that they'll try to provide service up to Sargent.
Is KG the American guy? The American in England guy?
Oh, maybe.
I thought that his name was not KG. I don't remember his name being KG. He's been on this chat before. We've had a discussion with him. I have had a discussion with him.
Tom said no.
Okay, so is the American guy not on the show? I haven't gone and watched Connor for months now. 3 months. So
KG Vision.
I didn't
I don't
know.
know who KG Vision is.
He's not a guy's name that I recognize for whatever reason. So anyhow, I watched about the guy that's bald with the beard, forgot his name. Connor, of course, was a regular I used to watch.
Tom just says, look him up for fuck's sake.
God damn it.
I'm tired of talking about it. Just look him up.
Yeah. All right. Oh, wait a minute. KG Vision. Now I do know who that is. Okay, it just hit me. My bad. Yes, totally. I didn't even look it up. It just hit me. Now I know who you're talking about. All right, so 262 if you're here now. Make sure you like, subscribe, share it with your grandma. We got Real Madrid up currently 2-0 on Salzburg. I think a lot of people thought this would be even worse than that already, even though we're 50 minutes into the game. But it's not. Salzburg, they fight. So still a game.
The ball dude you're thinking of is the Just Joe football?
Just Joe, yes. I really enjoy that show. I enjoy Connor as well. I just enjoy their honesty. I really do. Okay. And their passion, you know? All right.
All right. So we're gonna turn our heads towards the U.S. men's national team here, but not quite the topic at hand.
Okay. The screen all changed on us. Oh, it just changed for me. There we go. How am I accidentally hitting shit? I'm not even touching my mouse. Anyhow, go ahead, Brett. Sorry.
So Pete posted a tweet that we'll address in a second, but it's basically hitting up on what Twellman's talking about here. So Twellman sounds off in the current U.S. men's national team generation. I need to raise my hand. I'm a huge culprit to calling this the golden generation of players.
Yes.
Because when the U.S. failed to qualify for the World Cup in 2017, I asked the question, what are we doing? I'm glad the fact that he flat out said that, because that's become a meme, quite frankly.
Yes.
But I asked the question because where is the progression? When the U.S. lost to Belgium in the round of 16 in 2014 World Cup, Tim Howard had to make 7,000 saves, which is accurate, actually. I think it was like 6,976, but
something like that.
Splitting hairs. Why am I bringing this up? How do you compete against Belgium, Argentina, Brazil, and Italy of the world? I thought Pulisic, McKinney, Reyna, Tyler Adams, all these young American players playing at clubs that we as Americans have never been. That was a huge step in changing the perspective of American player. The problem is my dumbass calling them the golden generation of players consistently put them on a pedestal where they haven't had a signature win.
That's not. Don't take the blame for that, Taylor.
Well,
he's one. A lot of people. A lot of people did that on their own.
Yeah.
They didn't need help from you to do it. I'm happy to say we have never called this a golden generation on our show.
I brought that
ever.
Up.
Not a single time in the 3.5 years we have been doing this since our comeback during COVID have we ever said the words, this team is the golden generation. We don't believe in things like that. So Tax Brazilian says, I blame Taylor. I mean, you can blame him if you want. I'm not stopping you. But there were a lot of people who felt that way.
Yeah.
And listen,
all the pundits were posting that about. It was everywhere. And I'm going to I'm going to refrain from going too far into that because Jorge brings up a great point. I'm going to bring that up here in just a second. But I need to talk about my point first.
Mm-hmm.
I said this is the point that 11 Yanks Pete was making. These players have been pampered by our media and fans, hyping them up to be something that they should be, but currently aren't. Aside from their club career, what have they accomplished that lesser U.S. men's national team sides have done against stronger opposition? When looking at this generation of CONCACAF opponents, Honduras and Costa Rica have been depleted. Mexico, while still capable, is weaker than previous years. Canada is the strongest it's been. And then context aside, Panama has beaten us in the last 3 competitive matches. Because there is context to most of those games. But I don't want to get back into it again.
Right.
So I said, where does it put this this generation of players? And the reason I sped through that really quick is Ori Castillo says, when you say media, do you mean YouTubers too, right? During COVID and all the YouTube content creators made their debuts, It was many superlatives, such as the golden generation in comparison to elite international footballers.
Was that true?
I don't know if Pete and Tact were doing that, but they may have been, I guess. I don't know. But I mean, maybe making the comparison to Pulisic to insert random world-class player here type of thing. I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe they did. I don't remember that. It's possible. We certainly never used the word golden generation, but we did say, hey, this is a good group of players playing at a high level. This should look better than this, right?
Yeah.
It should look better than this. Context, way of punching a player in the face.
Yes. Yeah, that'd be part of the context there.
Well, I just think, the fact that this, if you call them whatever you want, right now, we are not living up to expectations.
Correct.
In fact, this is the scary part. We looked better and we performed better under Greg Berhalter. And I cannot believe I'm saying that.
And you know what? And people will come out and say, you guys wanted Berhalter gone and you wanted Poach in. Yeah, hindsight's always 20/20.
Yeah.
It turns out maybe it was the wrong decision in the end. Not necessarily to get rid of Greg, because I think Greg got stale, and I think the performances were showing that. But maybe the jump to a high-priced, a foreign coach that doesn't understand much of our game, maybe that wasn't the best decision. I don't know.
Yeah,
but I think a lot of us were sitting there going, like, we have the talent. We just need somebody to come in and whip our boys.
Yep.
Frankly.
Well, we thought they needed a good swift kick up the butthole.
Yeah.
Right?
Adam said that.
But it doesn't seem like they've reacted quite well to being swiftly kicked up the butthole.
WST Pitchbot says, clipped.
Well, there's another one good up even further. We didn't say golden generation, but we did say golden shower. Very true. And I'm sorry I missed who said that. That was good shit.
So I respond to saying whether you want to lump YouTubers in with media fans, it doesn't matter. I agree with Pete and Twillman that we are all the reasons for the problem. I will flat out state that Straight Red Card has never dubbed them the Golden Generation, unless addressing the term Golden Generation. We've certainly said this is the most talented generation. However, even saying that may need to be taken back, not because of the skill level, but the heart and determination. As for the comparison against elite footballers, we've also stated that we don't have any world-class players, but we do have some elite. Well, maybe just Pulisic. It's isolated Pulisic. Maybe
it's starting to look like just Pulisic at this point is the only elite player we have. The others are mostly role players on very good teams, very good club teams, but they're not the guy that when I turn on Juventus to watch Juventus, I don't expect McKennie to get an assist or a goal. I seriously don't.
I probably did like the year prior.
I did. I used to. What happened to that guy? I don't know. He doesn't crash the box anymore. He doesn't.
He's become a team player, Derek.
I guess he's a role player. I certainly don't expect Weah to do jack dilly squat. And when I watch Adams, I know that what his role is, and he does it very well. Well, did for most of the games at Bournemouth. So I'm not expecting goals for him in the first place or assists. But I mean, to me, Adams actually lived up to his billing with Bournemouth this season for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
McKennie, solid player. Not somebody I expect's going to do much as far as putting the chalk up on the board for his team at Juventus. And I'd like to see more of that. He used to have a manager who said McKennie should be scoring 15 goals a year. Remember that guy?
Yeah.
That is the kind of expectation I would have. Not that high, maybe 10, 8 goals a year. But Calvin Sullivan, you renamed him, is world class. Yeah. Well, you know what?
No, he's the wonder kid.
He is a wonder kid. I love the dude who's like, I can't wait for him to get to Man City and see him play for his first game for Man City. Whoa, dude. dude, you'll be waiting a long time for that. Okay, I'm sorry to. He's going out on loan army, and then he's like, "Well, how do you know that?" Because he doesn't even play for Philadelphia. He can't play for Philadelphia right now. He's not good enough to play on the Union. You think he's going to go to Man City and start playing games right off the bus, right off the plane? Some people are completely living in a dream world, I have to say. All right.
Hold on 1 second. I'm just listening to Berhalter. So Larry says Holland's coach did the speech from Kingpin about not wanting to lose to a one-handed bowler. And I, it's like, hey, or you guys don't want to get in the one-handed bowler. Obviously, is Woody Harrelson. His name is something I forgot his first name, but his last name is Munson.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever they talk about somebody failing at something, they always said, "Oh, he got Munsoned." So then I was like, "Yeah, change Munson to Berhaltered." So the Holland's coach was like, "We do not need to go out there and get Berhaltered."
Here's the interesting thing. Now that we have Poach, a lot of our standard players don't seem to be that enthusiastic about playing for Poach. Why would that be? Well, when you had Berhalter, you were the bosses of the team. You had a seat at the table. You had a leadership group. You made a lot of the decisions about what's going to happen next, who should be cut and thrown off the team, Brooks, and who should never be called back, Brooks. You had a lot of power, and now you got none because there ain't no leadership team. And what Poach says goes. Mm-hmm. And I think there's a little bit of like, hey, leadership shock going on here. Like Pulisic really thought he could dictate. Like he's only want to play 2 games. Poach is like, oh, go fuck off, dude. Go jump off a cliff. I'm the boss here. And if you're going to come, you're going to play all the games. You're going to be here the whole time. Either that, go take a hike. Now, whether that's smart or not, I don't know. But the fact that Pulisic used to have that kind of ability to do that with Berhalter, he certainly did. And apparently, at least one window, he did with Poach, too. Because Poach did send him home after a couple games, one window. And people were upset because he wasn't going to be there for the Mexico game. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe Poach blew it there because he signaled to Pulisic, yeah, you can come in and play some of the games and then leave. I'll send you home early to get rest. But now Poach has put his foot down. And we have watched multiple interviews now with Poach where he said, I'm not a mannequin. I'm not here to be your best friend. I am here to make the calls, and what I say goes. I think some guys don't like it. The only guy that doesn't seem to have a problem with it is Adams. Adams like, yeah, we need this kick in the ass, and I'm here for it. So, and of course, all the guys getting opportunities love them. I'm sure they love them, right?
Mm-hmm.
But everybody else is probably like, meh. Although McKennie doesn't seem very concerned about losing his spot based on the way he frames things. Yeah, if you don't feel 100, you just call in another dude. I'm fine. It's okay. Let them play. It's not like there's a real risk of me losing my spot or Christian losing his spot.
That's really the thought process, quite frankly.
It seriously is. And that's not smart. It's not smart to say it, just like it's not smart to say Italian food is good, but it's not doesn't have very much variety.
Well, you even said that, though. You said beforehand, you said at the beginning, before the clip even started, really like, yeah, it's not a lot of variety there.
No, I said regionally, if he's only in the Juve circumference area,
yeah,
yes, they have regional dishes. But I suppose to say that all Italian food is like the area where he lives in, that's not true. Sicilian food, very different from southern Italian food, the southern part of the boot, from the northern part of the boot, from the middle of the boot, or the coasts of the full boot and the Sicilian end of the toe. Like There's all kinds. There's some massive. There are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dishes.
And
Italian
that's
dishes.
funny because, I mean, and you can even look at, I mean, I know he brought up the American dishes as well, like, burger joints and stuff like that. But I mean, the stereotypical cuisine of, say, the Pacific Coast, like California and stuff like that, it's going to be different than Louisiana, which is going to be
hell yeah,
Kansas City and South Carolina.
Yeah,
it's going to be different than the Midwest. I mean, there's regional shit there too, but at least the regional shit can transfer to other regions too.
I guess the only difference is if you lived in Indianapolis, can you get St. Louis food? Yeah. St. Louis barbecue stuff. Can you go get Nashville chicken? Yeah, you can. So that is a difference, right?
Yeah.
So maybe where he's at, of course, the regions tend to be like, here are the top 20 dishes from our region, and we don't stray from it, Mitch, much. But don't say it's so. Just criticize the area and say the area where we live. There's not a lot of variety, but there's a shit ton of variety of Italian food if you go to other places in Italy.
Yeah. Oh, well, I mean, I wonder in that case. I wonder how aware. I mean, he's been there for 4 years. You'd imagine that he's had dishes elsewhere besides just Turin.
You would think, yeah.
He has to eat elsewhere, but I mean, I guess if you just go places and you're like, oh, I'll have the pizza.
Certainly, he's had to been to Parma or other major cities where he's gone to restaurants and gone, oh, this is different from my shit that I'm eating where I'm at right now. This is a lot different. Yeah. The menu's completely different. Wow. Because the choices would be very different depending on where you are in Italy. They don't all make the same dishes. You go to Bologna, very different, right? From Milan. Milan, very different from Sicily. All right.
Italy has terrible Mexican food.
That is not shocking, Kevin, at all. Although I am surprised by that, because the most basic thing for a street taco and all you need is a well-cooked, cut up, chopped up breast of chicken with a little bit of chili powder and some salt and pepper, along with some cilantro and maybe some onions cooked in there with it, and you throw it on. Yeah, okay. I know that some people don't like sour cream. I like a little sour cream. And you put them in a corn tortilla that's been warmed up nicely on the stove. You're ready to go, dude. How do you fuck that up? How can you fuck that up? I don't know. The most basic Mexican street taco. All right. TNT for $2. Malik is going to your wife and make it loose. Well, that's a very Larry thing to say. And obviously I'm divorced, so he can go for it. Malik wants my ex-wife. He's all welcome. But I will just warn Malik, no, I can't say that joke.
James Buchanan said, listen to him. That little round fur ball knows his tacos.
I mean, my ex-wife already had 2 kids, so I don't know how much damage he can do there. I really don't. I don't think he's going to be able to do much damage there.
Larry says, wife equals fat girlfriend. Derek doesn't have a girlfriend.
No, my ex-wife is skinny as hell. No. So she won't qualify for the fat girlfriend.
Bailey goes, can't loosen what's already loose.
That's not what I was saying. I was just saying she's already born 2 children.
Throw a hot dog down that thing.
Shut up, Brett. You're not helping. It's not what I was saying. Just saying, hey, okay, all right, whatever. That is not what I was saying. All right.
After you guys' divorce, Patrick Aguiman's #1 fan says she got hymen reattachment surgery.
What the fuck?
Maybe she can lose her virginity to somebody else.
I'm totally fine with that. I really am.
You're like, cool.
And I can guarantee that she did not lose her virginity to me. As one of my sons is a stepson, so she had been married prior. All right.
All right, so you sent me that Joe Efford video from.
And I just said that. I think just play a few seconds of it because my thought was, where the fuck is Joe Efford? That guy had a career once. Remember, we were following him through Greece, through Scotland.
Went to Spain a bit.
Spain. Yeah, I started in Spain, Mallorca. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, what the hell happened to him? Well, I tell you what's happening with him. He's starting his own academy. I can tell you this video, which you can play about 10 seconds of, is all about getting him ready to start his own academy here in the United States. Because the whole video is about what's wrong with development in the United States. And, well, he maps out how he's going to fix it. And then the name of the video is Effort Elite, right? That's already a name of an academy, right? Is he retiring at 25, 26 years old? Really? He's going to retire? He's got no club. So I don't get it.
25, really?
26 at best. Look him up real quick.
I'm quickly doing it. Yeah, it's 28.
28. He's retiring at 28.
I mean, technically, I would imagine he could probably come to MLS and play possibly. But I mean, yeah, he hasn't played since the 23-24 season.
Yeah, so he's been basically cut out for 2 years. Nobody wants Joe Effort.
Not ironically, oddly enough, I actually did watch one of his videos well before you sent me this video. And he was talking about how he's getting, like, he was dealing with an injury and he was getting back into match shape because he was going to sign a contract with some French team, which I'm guessing probably didn't pan out. That was the case.
Obviously, yeah.
He's not with him right now. As a whole, I can skip to his points, each point.
You don't have to do that. That's not.
They're all pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah, for sure. But if people don't remember Joe Effort, you might have remembered because we reported on him pretty regularly when he was in Scotland, right? He had problem one, overtraining, undertraining. He said it's not about, you shouldn't be doing all these steep hill, walks and runs and yeah.
Well, he specified, he goes, we, growing up, we didn't know what we were doing and the coaches didn't know what they were doing. So they were, just having us do sprints and running up hills and
that's what I experienced.
Stuff,
Yep.
Well,
a lot of that.
When I was growing up playing, I experienced every practice had ended with wind sprints.
Mm-hmm.
Now, mind you, we didn't do much like running without the ball prior to that, but it always ended in it.
Mm-hmm. Dude,
so
we used to do also you had to do the long run 3 times around all the baseball fields and soccer fields and shit. And of course, the best player on the team, Chad McGowan, who I would lap. Okay, I would lap him, and I was first on the long runs. I was a long distance guy.
Long runs. Ugh.
And I always won those.
Give me sprints all day.
And you know what? I come around for the second lap. Chad McGowan's still there. He's not moving. You know what he's doing? He's leaning against one of the buildings, smoking a cigarette. Yeah. Our best player, center forward, ain't going to be running that much. He ain't going to be running that much. I'm a midfielder. I'm going to be running all game. So, yeah, I had to be. And it was funny. He would get away with it because they would never catch him. We'd all laugh as we're all running by him. He's over there smoking a cigarette. And then, so he runs half a lap, stops, smokes a cigarette. We all run all 3 laps. And then on the last lap, he kind of catches up and finishes. And the coaches don't notice. So he's been smoking a cigarette the whole time. It's hilarious.
How careful are you actually going to pay attention as people are passing you to go do the second lap at that point?
Oh, well,
really
yeah. Well, because it's like a huge, we got 3 baseball fields, 2 soccer fields. This is at Fort Knox High School. It was a long run around the whole high school complex. So you could just hang out wherever he wanted, well out of their view and not actually do the run, And he would tell me things like, dude, slow the fuck down. You're making everybody else look bad. And my sophomore year, I did. I slowed down. I was like, all right, I'll slow down and not make everybody look like they're slackers. So, but I still won. That I could do. I could run forever before I picked up smoking. Thank you, Chad, for the smoking habit. That I appreciate.
Yeah, so I don't know if that's part of the first or if it's part of his second problem here. So jumping back to the topic at hand. But he talks about how, because I think it was during the first problem, because overworking and underworking or whatever it was. He was basically saying how, like, when he finally made the move over to Europe, because there's no real, option for 18-year-olds and above, here stateside, and which is a whole different thing altogether. But
yeah,
he specifies how when he got over to Europe, he found out that the workload, he was constantly injured because the workload was too much for him based off of what he did over here. And he's like, they did like working with like the physios and stuff like that. He was like, they found out that he was like 30% behind his peers as far as
really confusing the way he explained that, by the way. Because he's saying, yeah, in the United States, I overtrained. So when I got to Europe, they said I had undertrained. Well, that's really confusing the way he puts that. What he really means is he did the wrong training.
Thank you. Yep, you beat me to it.
He bulked up his body. And so when he started doing the right training, his body wasn't ready to do the correct training, which was more about flexibility and quickness
soccer
and speed.
IQ.
Yeah, soccer IQ and quick moves and this. It wasn't about hauling up a hill or lifting weights and all that jackassery, right? It was about being quick and nimble. And his body simply wasn't ready to be quick and nimble because it had been trained to be a running back for a fucking the NFL team. And so we are doing this still to this day. We are preparing a lot of our players to be NFL running backs instead of being soccer players. And so the training in Europe was totally different, and his body didn't adapt to it. So he kept getting injured to the other things they were doing, which was more about quick movements, and etc. So he could have done better there.
It's telling if you really think about it, looking at the injury list of a lot of our stronger European players.
Yeah.
And how they always pick up little injuries here or bigger injuries there. And
I mean, for a while, it was ridiculous. It was like half of my report. My Yanks Abroad report was injured.
But I mean, our players can go and they can run. But it really begs the question. I mean, obviously, it's a different game that they were training their entire life to focus on one aspect of physicality. Now I think things are changing at this point, but still, you have a bunch of players that are going over to Europe that are sitting out spots of their career because they're injured with, pulled hammy or torn butt, all that stuff.
Yeah.
So I wonder if that's the case too. He goes into talking about the pay-to-play system, and I skipped over that because don't need to hear him talk about that.
I don't think we need to talk about any more of this. I think we covered it. Unless you got something really important here, we need to get to the end of the and cover the Costa Rica thing.
I don't think we need to do anything. No, I need to really cover anything more here. I agree with you.
It's just good to know he's alive.
Well, and I agree with you. I think this is YouTube presence at this point is really just trying to build a name recognition. So when he does open up his academy or whatever, come here and does training with wherever, that he's got a rapport, if you will.
Yeah. I will say this, the number of new shows on YouTube, new soccer pods or whatever, it's pretty insane. And, starting off with 34 views after 8 hours has got to be rough. It's got to be rough. There's long way to go. Yeah, for some of them.
We had on their show, or you've been on their show. What is the
Schnitzel Brothers?
Yeah. God, I mean, I'm hoping they have like a podcast that they post the podcast to, and that's where they get all the numbers. Because I don't know how it was freaking possible that they were doing it 3-4 times a week.
Yeah.
And they would have like 5 views on it.
That's so rough.
And I don't know how that's even algorithmically possible.
And we like those guys, but damn, that's tough, man. And actually, I just had a back and forth with him recently. Because he's like, did people really bring up that Jurgen Klinsmann should be on this roster? Or not, Jonathan Klinsmann? I was like, yeah, because they brought it up because our goalkeeper situation right now is dire. Also, there were a lot of people who were like, oh, so that list you put out for people to share with casuals, like, why is this player on it? Or what? No casual knows about Griffin Yao. Okay, maybe not, but it still provides you as the non-casual sharing with casuals the context, there were other options. There were other players that could have been options for this team. And you can educate them. I'm not saying every one of them deserve to be on the team. I love people have a problem because I put some obscure player on there. Well, no Cowboy's going to ask you about Kevin Lund. Well, then why did my brother? Because my brother watched 2 games that Kevin Lund did play. He's like, what about that? What's his face? That guy in Italy. And I'm like, oh, yeah, Kevin Lund. Yeah, that guy. Yep. I didn't see it, BMR. But, yeah, maybe I did see it.
He doesn't go as BMR on Twitter, though.
Right. Like, my brother doesn't know dick about hardly any of these guys, but he remembers players, and so does my mom. My mom will be like, well, what about that dude that guy, and he got in trouble with Berhalter. What was his name? Reina. Oh, yeah. Fuck. Yeah, Reina. Like, they just don't remember names, but they remember things that happened. Or they remember specific players that played that they thought were pretty good. And they're like, well, where's that guy? I thought he was pretty good. And that goes for that whole list. A lot of those guys have played, right? Mm-hmm. They've played at one time or another that I put up. And so I just gave them the whole thing. Although I did miss Centeos and I missed Fossey. And Fossey was another guy that I think my brother brought up. Who's the guy with the big puffy hair that played a couple games ago? The big puffy hair, he's kind of small and fast and quick.
I can't believe Fossey was memorable to your brother outside of maybe his hair.
Yeah, no, but he was like, that guy's kind of quick and fast. Why isn't he on the team? I'm like, I don't know. He just wasn't called. And then somebody said, well, football reasons could mean a lot of things. Like he just wanted to Poach wanted to, dig into the mountain and find some diamonds in the rough. Really? He hasn't really got a chance to see most of the other guys on the list that I put out. Much. So he's all ready to throw those guys to the side and go start digging into MLS mountains. And there are guys that are there from MLS, like Luna, that we're fine with. And I think we were fine with Seb Berhalter.
Fashion, yeah.
There are guys we're fine with that are on this team. But this is a 26-person team or whatever it is, and 16 of the players are MLS players. Where were where was the invitation to Scally? Maybe he's seen enough Scally. He's like, I like him, so I don't need him. But so we don't maybe know the context. Maybe he loves Scally, and he's just like, you don't need to come. I already know how good you are.
Consistently played Scally at right center back, right back, his entire time with the U.S. men's national team. So yeah, maybe he looked at this saying, hey, I need to take a look at somebody else because I need to get a full understanding of it.
So maybe that's right. But that doesn't mean me putting out a full list so it's completely contextual a bad thing. There were only a couple people that came after me for that. But it's like I'm just putting out everybody just in case you have some weird cousin who's like, hey, I really like that Lund guy. At least he's on the list. Or, hey, I have a German cousin who lives in wherever, and he's saying Maloney didn't make the team. Why not? Or that guy from Mainz didn't make the team. He used to play for Heidenheim. So it's, at least it's there. I mean, I wasn't saying Maloney should have been called up, but maybe he should have been. Maybe he's an extra center back. You can make those kind of arguments. All right.
The Angry American says, can you all talk about the pay-to-play system? Because we kind of glossed over that in that video. We didn't really cover it, but because we have covered it before. And maybe we need when Gold Cup dies down and we're hurting on topics, maybe we can talk about the pay-to-play system to some extent.
I'll give you
not a massive topic point, quite frankly.
I will give you a 30-second preview of that discussion. Obviously, pay-to-play, the way it works here in the United States, is not helping us very much. However, there's a lot of investment. There's a lot of money. There are a lot of teachers and consultants and people who make a lot of money running academies and this elite academy club and whatever. You can't change that overnight. If you're going to do it, It's going to need a concerted plan, which I am not going to get into tonight in any detail whatsoever. It will have to be an evolution, a step-by-step evolution, where academies have to grant so many sponsorship players a year, free players a year, academies in the league. Not MLS. MLS is already free. You're in an MLS academy, you're playing for free. The problem is, leading up to those academies, those need to be, for the most part, there need to be more scholarships for players. How do you get scholarships done? How do these elite academy club systems survive if overnight you flip the switch and say, nope, you can't charge shit anymore? Good luck. Well, then, of course, they need to be paid for their development by future players they sell on to other people. That takes time to put together. It is not a switch you can flip. That's all I'm saying. That was longer than 30 seconds.
I think it's going to require more development in our lower divisions within the United States.
That's another way to do it. Yep.
We obviously have MLS doing their shtick, and it's working for them in that sense that they have fully fledged free academies. A lot of USL championships teams have fully paid for academies as well. But I think at that point, it kind of dwindles down to nothing.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, it's a $1 billion complex at this point. And
it is.
Winalda has a couple really good videos talking about it. And he talked about the big one. He's talking about like the tournaments for like the elite league of whatever the elite leagues are named. When they host their tournaments, these host teams are making bank, like millions of dollars.
Yeah.
And they're getting kickbacks from the hotels around them because they're saying, well, you have to stay at these hotels and all this stuff. I mean, it's a big money corporate shtick right now, and it's going to take a lot of small chiseling to whittle it down. It's not an overnight thing again.
It is definitely not overnight. It's going to have to be done step by step, and the clubs that are involved in embracing that step-by-step process,
you bastard,
they're going to have to see a light at the end of the tunnel, because they're all doing really good right now. They're making a lot of money. So you're going to have to say to them, well, you're still going to make money, but you're going to make money in a different way. You're going to make money by developing players who go pro, and you're going to get a cut of that percentage as they move up from second division to MLS and maybe to Europe. You're going to get a cut of all that money. Millions. We're talking $1 million contracts, and you're getting a cut the whole way. And that's going to not happen overnight. It's going to have to be done by scholarship per year. Every year, you start with one scholarship. Then you have 2 the next year. Then 3. Maybe it's every 2 years you add a new scholarship player who's coming on for free. And hopefully by the 10th year, you're selling players off to MLS teams or USL teams, and you're getting a cut of that money, making it viable for you to have an academy. Again, I'm not getting into details of how this works because I don't even have a detailed plan, but certainly someone could come up with one. They could come up with what that step-by-step process would look like and how the evolution of that and what it would look like. And certainly adding Pro Rel would help, but I don't think that's happening with MLS. It's just not. And I'm still waiting to see if it really happens with USL. We don't even know if that's really going to happen. We shall see. How did the Swiss play 2 times more black guys? All right. I mean, I'm not really interested in that discussion because black guys, Hispanic guys, Latino guys, white guys, yeah, whatever. But the people who I'm more worried about, people who are generally avoided and ignored. Yes, of course, that involves our African-American communities and our Hispanic communities. They do get ignored. And even our poor white ones. Like Dempsey, that's a working class kid coming from a lower middle class. Like the fact that he made it at all is a miracle. It's a miracle. Mm-hmm. So should have there been more support for a player that obviously had the talent and showed a lot of promise. So his parents weren't, going half broke to get him through that. Yeah. So the working class, there is a massive black hole of working class kids of all colors missing right now.
I just couldn't imagine. I mean, props to them financially speaking, but props to them making a 3-hour trip.
Yes, that's crazy.
Like it'd be like me here in Indy taking my son to go play with Chicago Fire Academy.
That's nuts, isn't it?
Like 4 days, 5 days a week. Like then going.
You'd be insane. You'd lose your mind.
I would say to my wife, hey, sweetie, you work remotely. I'll find a job in Chicago. Let's just move up there for a bit.
Yeah, exactly.
No chance in hell would I make that trip. I'm like, we'll just move.
Yeah. There are players on our current team that don't come from rich families. Let's keep that in mind. So we haven't priced everybody out yet, but somebody has got to, like, if you're Chris Richards, for instance, and you impress somebody along the way, especially because of their physicality and your build. And that's, of course, Americans love big guys. There's a shot that somebody's going to find you, right, and build you up. But there are a lot of guys falling through the cracks. Let's be really honest. All right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
So Meg Swanek posted the video of Freeze's blunder against Haiti. Says she said the goalkeeper situation is truly dire. Is in a truly dire place.
Dire place, yeah.
Corey says, "How is one goal conceded in 232 minutes? The Gold Cup dire."
Because we have no idea who our goalkeeper is going to be in 2026. We have no fucking clue. Zach Steffen could make a comeback and play a few good friendlies.
And twist his back again.
Yeah, and not be injured, but still compete. Chris Brady could win goalkeeper of the year. We don't know who our goalkeeper is, and that is dire a year out from the World Cup because it's dire because that's never been the problem before. Howard was a lock. Prior to that, it was either Keller or Casey Keller and who? Friedel. Oh, well, I'll take either. That's not dire.
Who's on waiting behind the ranks of Howard? I'm just saying. The point being is we had options, like options that were playing, and quite frankly, options that were playing in England. Like
we had Patrick. We had Hanneman.
Yeah.
Let's say Friedel, and Keller got injured. We had Hanneman. Oh, that's not we had Robles playing in the Bundesliga. We always had somebody to rely on. We could even go to the small dude at RSL. Forgot his name already because it's late. If we had to go that deep, we could. Right?
I'm facing his name right now too. Actually, I can't think. I can picture him.
Me too. I can totally picture him. He's like 5'11", 5'10". Yeah, great goalkeeper. Like it was not an issue. It's an issue now. Because we don't know.
Thank you, Eldon.
Nick Raimondo was a great goalkeeper. So even if we had to go 4 deep,
first by his height, 5
deep, you still had Nick Raimondo. Friedel out, right? No big deal. We got we had 3 other keepers.
So the whole dire situation, you're looking at the macro here, and Corey's looking at the micro. He's saying, well, why are we in a dire situation? Freeze has let in 1 goal and it's a blunder of a goal. It's a really silly goal. But he's had 1 blunder in 232 minutes.
You can say micro.
He's looking narrow here, whereas you're looking wide.
Yeah, his view is myopic. His view is right now. Here, right now. How's that? Well, I'll tell you why. Because it's the weakest position on our team.
Sure.
That's why it's dire. And we have no clue who our goalkeeper is right now in 2026. Okay. We cannot say it's Freeze. We can't say it's Turner. Mm-hmm. We can't say it's Schulte, Horvath. Coaching, not ready, too young. Brady, never really gotten a real shot. We don't know who our goalkeeper is. That's really bad to not know that a year out from a World Cup. We haven't had to deal with that forever. Because since Tony Meola, we've always had a goalkeeper. So since 1992, we always knew who our goalkeeper was going to be next, for the most part. There was always a transition, but we always had people to pick from that were quality. So.
Yeah. Again, I'm just in Corey's defense here. It's just narrow versus wide. That's all it is.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're defending him.
Somebody's got to defend the little people.
I'm a bully, Brett.
How dare you?
I know, horrible person. All right, let's pick this starting lineup for the Costa Rica game. Matt Breeze. Jesus, it's an S. There we go. I don't think we're going back to Turner at this point.
Nope.
And I'd be shocked if we did.
Who got
Left back, I think we all know that's Arson.
Yeah.
I think Tolkien was fine. I think he was okay. I just don't think it's enough for the love. I'll be right back. Give me 1 second.
Right back, I think it's pretty safe to say it's Freeman. Because outside of Harrell, I don't think we had another right back play. Again, I'm going to go ahead and fill these in because I'm pretty sure we're all on the same page here of who's going to be included where.
All right, yeah, that's fine. Bream.
Yep. Back line, oddly enough, the back line is...
It fills itself at this point.
With who we have and what he's done so far, yeah. Okay.
So BMR says, Brett, can you also give us the lineup that you would pick? Well, I'll just fill in as we go along. I would rather have Tolkien start.
I would rather have Tolkien at this point, yeah.
But I don't get to pick.
But I mean, hopefully we get Arfston and not Barfston. But I think Tolkien would be my pick at left back.
That's the only thing I would change, really.
Double holding at this point.
Adams.
I think it's going to be Adams too, and that's both of us going with what we think and who we want.
But the next spot
that's not Tyler Adams.
Hell no, it isn't. This is tricky because it could be LDT.
Could be LDT.
It could be Berhalter.
I'm kind of leaning towards Berhalter for Poach.
Because I don't think it's going to be Cardoso. And that's who I would probably put in there and say, hey, Tillman went and he got good. And he's figured this out and how to shine. Let's give Cardoso a chance to shine here and figure this shit out. But I don't think Poach wants to lose this game, and he's probably nervous about what he's seen from Cardoso so far. I am going to say Berhalter is who he's going to pick.
I think so too.
And I would frankly go with Luca De La Torre or Cardoso because they got more experience. They're veterans. They play on good, well, at least Cardoso plays on a good club. Not that San Diego's that bad, but or he's moving to Atleti, Cardoso.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if we don't have Berhalter in, then our set piece taker is either like Malik or Luna at that point, right?
Yeah. I think Poach is going to go with Berhalter, folks. So just a heads up. Middle, that's Tillman. I think that's no doubt.
And I think that's a safe assumption at this point.
And I agree with it. And then Luna. Yeah. And I agree with that too.
Yeah.
Despite what some idiot says online about how I think other players should play before Luna. Outright, I think that's McGlynn. I don't think that we saw enough from anybody else to pick
I
anybody.
wasn't really impressed with Quinn, quite frankly.
Sullivan, I thought he had some good moments.
I still don't think I don't think his quality is up to the international game at this point. I think he's still young. He still needs to grow and develop. And getting a match here and there is one thing. I mean, getting the Gold Cup is fine and all, but I mean, yeah, he's definitely behind McGlynn, quite frankly.
I saw Brendan Aronson there. I don't think he did enough to overcome Poach's tendency to want to pick McGlynn.
No, I don't think so either. He's been used basically as a sub the entire tournament.
Yep. And I don't see anything changing up top whatsoever. And I'm not putting Brian White in, although if Damian Downs was healthy, I'd start Damian Downs. I would. I really would. But I don't know if he's even healthy. So if he's not, that leaves you Agumon and White. And I guess I'm going with Agumon because everybody else is, well, first of all, that's who Poach is picking. And number two, I haven't really seen much from White when he's been on the pitch.
In fairness, he hasn't really been given opportunities. Like 10 minutes here,
20 on the other one, but
if that,
yeah. I mean,
it's he'll have a nice touch here and there, but this time he hasn't really done enough.
And you know the weird thing about Brian White, he's not even a regular starter for Vancouver. It's just every time he comes on, he scores. So
oh shit,
yeah.
I assumed he was starting.
No, not every game.
Color me surprised.
Yeah. So there you go. That's what you can expect on Sunday, right?
Yeah, and just to recap, as far as any changes you personally would make, assuming that Downs is not healthy. Yeah, so really it's just Tolkien and maybe Cardoso / LDT over Berhalter.
Yeah. CR's going to press. Is Costa Rica going to press? Probably, Tony. If they're smart, they will.
Because we're going to over the last handful of years.
They're going to try to play. We're going to try to play it out of the back. I did like the moments when Freeman later in the game said, I'm just hoofing this thing. I'm not taking any chances. So, yes, Brian White as a starter, he was hurt for a bit. Well, yeah, okay, that's fair, but he also came off the bench for a number of games. Maybe that's because he didn't have full fitness. But I watched a bunch of Vancouver games in a row, and there were a bunch of them where he wasn't starting, he was coming off the bench. I had no idea that it was injury related, though, at the time. So I was just kind of like, why isn't Brian White starting? I thought he's like their best scorer. Thank you for the context. All right. I mean, this is it, folks. What you're going to see. You're probably going to see the same thing where Freeman holds, Arson goes way up the left. And if Costa Rica's been watching any video at all, for crying out loud, they should know exactly how we're setting up and exactly how we're going to play. Mm-hmm. And in that case, they're going to be ready to close down the gaps and fill in the holes and press us when they feel an opportunity is available. So, listen, we could get outcoached in this game if Pochettino remains as stubborn as he has been game after game after game playing the exact same system.
Say if Damian Downs is healthy, we go to a 4-2-2-2.
I would not expect that at all.
No, I wouldn't either.
I would not. And
that grants Arson and Freeman to do their thing. Adams can pinch back in here. Zeb can move up a little bit, but
hey, as much as the next guy, I'd like to see an empty bucket. I'd love to see a 4-4-2 of some sort of discernible. As Lawless put it today, it's an ancient practice, right? It's an ancient practice that no one does anymore. So
it's out of fashion, and just like fashion, it always returns. So at some point, somebody's going to make popular the 4-4-2 of some form.
Well, we almost saw it when Downs came in to partner up with Bambi, right? We saw 4-4-1-1.
Every time Haji comes in, he practically plays a striker for the most part. Not the last match because he wanted to prove me wrong, but
yeah, we play out left for the most part. But all right, folks, that's going to do it for today. We'll be back Sunday. What time is the game on Sunday? 6? We'll call it live.
7.
Okay, that's good. So we'll be on around 6:45, 15 minutes before the game. Brett, you good with that?
Yeah.
All right. We'll see you Sunday, peeps. Let's hope it's a good one. It's not going to be easy. I don't think this is going to be we're not blowing this team out. This is a well-coached team. It's a Sunday, Untouchables, not a Saturday. Right? It's a Sunday.
It's Sunday.
So I'm home by Sunday. I only go on I go Saturday, Sunday morning I leave. Well, Sunday morning we watch the F1 race, then I leave. Or the IndyCar race, depending, with my dad and my mom. We all are big open wheel fans. So we watch the IndyCar races. All right. It's been a lot of fun. And hang in there. Let's hope that Sunday's good. And until we see you then, until next time, give your stepsister a big wet kiss from us. Good night.
That hurt.
I want to play in Europe. What the hell does that mean, right? Because Europe could be Latvia, Luxembourg.
No one's talking about Latvia or Luxembourg, dumbass.
So you don't want to just shove it in there. Start with the smaller finger, especially if this is the first time. Start with the smaller finger and go slow.
I mean, there's a lot of things that need to change.
Honey, eating ass, it is the best thing that you can do for your man.
I want people to realize I'm just human. I'm just human, and I make mistakes.
So this guy, Derek, wants to know, is putting your tongue in an ass really the thing to do?
Yeah, it feels really good.
It's a weird one, I think.
And I know you want me to toss your salad too, don't you? All right, on that note.